Chase success with Global.Media.com. Then celebrate it with or without champagne.
Welcome, my good friends. I'm so glad we are here. Ooh, he coughed himself into a coma. Let me try not to. Let me get my water. Oh, I got choking on myself. I tell you, getting back on track has been so difficult since my trip to London last week. But I'm back. We're here.
Welcome back.
My shows are restarting. Thank you, Scott. I'm glad someone, at least someone missed me. Michael didn't miss me. He didn't really care that I wasn't here. He's probably happy knowing him, right? How you doing, Michael?
Oh, I'm ecstatic.
You sound it. You sound so ecstatic. Look, I've got a great show planned today. Like I said, this is an easy topic. I think I've covered this topic in different ways. I tend to normally talk about social media not working. Then I realized this is a topic I really want to talk about. This is the one that really bugs me. This is the one that truly drives me crazy. And look, I suppose the simple thing, is that given that this room is about being your authentic self in business, I am not. That's a way of saying I'm annoyed. I can use many swear words, but I try not to. By people who are not authentic on social media. And many people wonder why they don't get the results they want. And I realized this is a topic. It's about people who are chasing our algorithms at best of times. And we need to change that somehow. So this is my attempt to, I guess, give you good reasons, if you are that person, to show up as more of your authentic self, to engage people properly. So that's what I hope to discuss today. I've got a couple of videos to show you. One breaks down how the algorithms work, if you really want to know. I'm sure you do. And the other video tells you, stop doing these things, which also, so that excites me in its own way as well. I think, cheap tricks don't get us anywhere. Whereas being our real selves, being who we are, and thinking more about the people we're trying to serve is more what we're here for. Of course, there's a lot more to it than that. There's relationships and all that. Oh, Meryl, you are the best, Meryl. Of course, we miss your Neo song, says Meryl. Thank you so much, Meryl. I miss you too. And I've never had 5 days. It was 7 days. I came back yesterday, so I left on Wednesday. So that's 26 days off LinkedIn. That's rather strange. So when I do feel better. I do feel mentally rested. Physically not, but mentally yes. But physically I'm getting back. I'm getting back to my normal self. I was much worse yesterday, Scott. I was so much worse last night. I was like, I'm dying. Then I realized I wasn't dying. I'm not that lucky, right? So here we are. But if you're here, my friends, do the usual. Say hello. Put something in the comments. That way I know you're here, so I can see you on my LinkedIn tab. So I know you're there. I just don't know who is here unless you say something. So do say hello. That way I can welcome you properly as well. Let me join on LinkedIn to make sure that we're live. I'm sure we are. So I'll try to leave on time today. I'll try to make sure I don't take too much of our time. But Owen, welcome, my friend. Great to see you. Owen says it's refreshing to see. Oh, and I haven't seen you for a long, long time as well. I loved Owen's message. Okay. It's refreshing to see a focus on authentic engagement over mere algorithm tricks. Exactly. That's what we're here for, my friend. That's what I truly believe. Christina, welcome. So another marketing genius. So I'm glad you're here as well. So any join the revolution. It's simple business. Talk to people, comment to support, not to spike the impressions. Oh yes, and read. Christina, I swear, you're after my heart. You are, Crystal. I thought of you as I was inviting people. I'm so glad you're here. Christina, Crystal says I'll be at work, but we'll listen. Excellent. I'll take that. Dr. Angela, I thought of you too because I saw your name on. I saw your photo on William's donors list. So thank you so much for being here. So I hope my meeting doesn't run over so I can attend. Yeah, if you want a link, Dr. Angela, let me know. I'll send you the link. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the topic. I haven't mentioned pepperoni, have I? No, pepperoni is here as well. Noni. I'm sure I can, she's on StreamYard, so I'm glad you're here. Oh, there are many more people on StreamYard now. Noni says, hey everyone, Noni's planning to come to London in December. Yes, Noni, even though I'm a good 300 miles away, I shall make the trip to come and see you because it's you and you're wonderful. So definitely that. Dina, I haven't seen you for a long time, Dina. About authenticity, 100%. Totally agree. Thank you so much. Meryl says, happy to be joining live this afternoon from New Jersey, USA, where it seems summer has finally arrived. Yes, summer's here, but it's raining here. Meryl, it's raining. It's chucking it down. But I can't really complain because when the sun shines, the British love to complain. So our complaint these days is global warming, climate change. They're like, we need more. We need more rain. It's too hot. No, it's perfectly fine when it's hot. Today, you're gonna get your rain. Tomorrow, you're gonna get your rain, and like you got your rain yesterday. Hopefully, that will be enough to last the whole summer. But it never is, right? Scott, why am I showing you comments when you're in the studio, right? Authenticity is essential for the highly individualistic like yourself. Yeah, I think for everyone, Scott. Chasing the algorithms is a dumb game. I don't think people think hard about what they're trying to do. Really, that's why the first video I'm going to show today is breaking down what the algorithms are trying to do. Really, people think it's all about getting likes, shares, comments, more eyes on your posts. That's not what social media is about at all. Again, I think when I started online in 2000, my first job, I didn't even know there was something called the internet until then, right? So when I said literally, I was amazed, and I saw this world of potential, this world where anyone could compete with anyone else if they had a decent product, decent service. Whether you're out of Mongolia, whether you're in New York, it's a level playing field. Alas, in those days, so you have to realize, look, the company I worked for, a company called the Shelf International, was one of the first 5,000 e-commerce businesses in the UK. Now, so I'm talking about the days when we used to sell blogs. They call them advice guides. That was my job, to create these advice guides. And so you write a blog with those steps how to do something, and then you sell it for $5.99, $10.99, or whatever you think people are willing to pay for it, right? Of course, this feels like before YouTube days. I'm sure it was, because YouTube came and blew content out of the water completely. So that's one of the hints for today, my friends. Video matters, right? But so in those days, they said there were 5,000 internet companies in the UK. We all knew each other. We knew each other literally. I knew the other owners, the other content developers. I knew other people in other companies. Think of the internet today, my friends. We have 8 billion people on Facebook alone, if not more. You might figure some people have 2 accounts and more, right? Unless you got all the kids on Facebook as well, which we don't. So literally, there's many accounts now. And it dawned on me probably 2010 when I looked back and thought, Amy, your dreams about the internet, have they come true? The answer was no. It's gone the other way. Rather than being a level playing field, we have a world where the big dominate every market, every sector. Think of your sector. The big companies dominate this sector. They just do. They spend more money. They do more content. They do more of the right things for longer than we can. You see, when I came into business, my thing was to work with the small guys, electricians, the plumbers, people who have no idea how the internet really works. And I realized that those people can't afford anything. They can't afford me to do the social media for long enough. they can't afford to run ads for long enough because the money involved. And they can't, so literally they can't do emails. They haven't got a big enough email list to beat that to death as the big brands do, right? So I had to find other ways. So the long and short of it, so the world is unfair to the small guy online. I get it. That doesn't mean that we have to cheat. So I found other ways to help my clients. Other ways means I was doing LinkedIn. That's why I came to LinkedIn. I realized LinkedIn is a database of people, really. Of course, there was a jobs platform at the time. You used to come here to post your CV, find jobs. But I never saw it as that. I always saw it as it's a way to connect my clients to target audience. Then Facebook started crying, LinkedIn started crying at me, threatening to kick me off. And then it's a long story about that. I'll share my long journey with you, I'm sure. Linda in Canada, thank you for being here. Hope some of you will join the studio. The link is in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the topic. Dina says, I literally was thinking about this. Yes, Dina. Yes, it's a problem. We all think about this every day. I don't know. Maybe some of us even do some of these cheap tricks. Yeah, some are cheap tricks. Some are just tricks. Some are just how you create content, right? I can't say I'm holier than thou. Please, Scott, go for it.
Yeah, I have a question. I have a lot of questions actually about this. The first question I would want to ask you is unintended results. And the reason I say that is a lot of people want to go viral, but they may not be gaining favorable attention in doing so. And the reason I say that, I reached out to a job seeker a week ago, and I wanted to volunteer some time. I wanted to volunteer some help. And the post had caught my attention because they were talking about selling their home, right? Losing their home because they had been, out of the job market for a little bit. And then all of these people had followed up with them. And I have a usual goal for my clients is that I want them to gain favorable attention, right? So that they get to the interviews that they want. But I'm afraid that going viral may not always be the kind of attention that you want. If you go viral for the wrong reasons, what kinds of problems can that create for you?
Yeah, I get your question. I think you hit on a real problem for those who want to trick the algorithms. You might, woe betide you that you win, that you do trick them. You do gain visibility. You do go viral. It sounds like a disease. I say no. What are you gonna do? Well, no, I guess Scott. The bigger issue for me is that you risk attracting the wrong people, because all of us have a target audience. We have the people that we're here to serve, right? We know who our ideal clients are. Most of us do, right? I'm saying, but when you try to game the system, essentially you're cheating the algorithms. You're cheating the rules. It's hard to explain this to people, right? Look, those algorithms exist for a reason, right? There's 8 billion people online. How are you going to decide who sees what? So the algorithms, they sound like a bad thing to us, but many people think, oh, terrible algorithms. No, they're awful. They're not awful. They're how you maintain order online. Without the algorithms, we're all screwed, right? So I'll show you in my first video in a couple of minutes, because then you see what I mean. Now, you want to attract the people that you want to serve, people you want to engage. You don't want to attract everyone. Even though some people will tell you go general, and then you might attract some of those that you actually want to work with. No, niche down. That's always the way. Because if you do go big and attract everyone, how are you going to serve them? As you're asking, Scott, you can't. And then once you start letting people down, your reputation goes down the pan. And the people that you're trying to engage wouldn't necessarily engage with rubbish. There's a way to engage your target audience. You got to speak the language. You got to talk about what they want to talk about. You got to talk about their issues, their problems, and your solution to their problems. That's good marketing. Anything else is potential disaster, I assure you. But hopefully I'll get to explain it long before we go. Tracy, I see you. Welcome. So glad to have you here. And Tracy, Tech Studios. Okay, Tracy's out. Yeah, Tracy. It's the same Tracy. It's been a while, Tracy. It's been a long, long time. How are you?
I'm good, Annie. I just wanted to say hi. It has been, I don't know, a couple months, but I've been in and out your video quite a lot. Mainly when I was driving. Listen to Annie, at least a part of
Oh,
it. Yes, I know you still have a lot of shows going on. It's been a different experience, right? So far, I think it's for the better part. We get to see each other. This is like a 360, pretty much. I like what you guys talk about, and I want to say that at the very beginning, probably like last year, September 2024, when I came back to LinkedIn after about a year and a half, I did look through some of those big shots sharing their experience how to gain lots of audience at the very I guess at the very forefront of the algorithm. And I figured out it's not working for everyone. If you're trying to sell something, mainly services that's very client or customer oriented, yet you want to have a huge audience, maybe 10% of them will jump into action, that's worth it. But people like me and like you, if we are in this organic growth path, people will quickly filter through. They're not here for your content and material, they are for something else. That's very transitional, right? And that's not the people we are going after. The one really, really attracted to your books, to my audios, to your videos are the ones they just came without being pushed by the engine, this SEO, anything like that. So it's really very organic, is a text or a content-based attraction. And I
that's
want to say, Cyrus, I really like your
I
your
like that.
wine glass with a mic in it. It's very, I would say, creative and also very intuitive. I know intuitive might not be the right word, but I can find a better word for it. It's just very self-explanatory, straightforward, but also very subtle. I like to
Yeah.
have Cyrus on the screen if you can.
No,
Thank you.
he'll speak
I
next
see
for
you,
sure.
Scott.
Yeah, no, he'll speak next. Go on. So you go on, Scott. So Tracy says hello. So
And yeah, Scott and
Michael, no,
nephew
Michael
Michael has
changed his
been,
name, Mr. M.
yeah,
No,
Mr. M. Mr. M is in California, right?
yeah, yeah, I think so.
Hmm.
Are you in California, Michael? I'm sure you are. Yeah, I think
Yeah, he moved to
Yeah, yeah,
California. Yeah, around the holiday season. Yeah. Mhm.
yeah. He did. Look, I must say that flower suits you, Tracy. I must say that flower just. It's like, on my one of my other backgrounds, I've got my Global.Media logos, that Phoenix thing, and it looks like I do. It looks like I got wings. Yours works beautifully as well. So I'm glad you're here, and I so
Thank you
thank
so
you
much.
Very
And yeah, I
nice
do
very
like
background
your
choice.
background when you have that purple, bluish purple shirt
much.
on. Yeah, very nice.
Oh, you're
All
too
right.
kind. You're too kind. Henry, welcome. So glad you're here. Uh, Dr. Lisa, thank you for joining us. We've got our menopause dietitian genius and several times best-selling co-author. She likes me to say those words exactly right. Does it always rain in England, Meryl? Yes, it always rains in England, but the people don't think so. They forget when it rains that it's raining. When it stops raining, it's like complaining that it's not raining enough. That's the weirdest about England for you. Well, we think we always want more rain, but who knows, right? Ashif, Coach Ashif, so glad you're here. To be the energy you want to attract, indeed. Now, many people know the truth. Which is very few actually do those things. Even Tracy mentioned it just now. It's about attracting the people that you want that you want to support. Attracting everyone, as Scott mentioned right at the beginning, is not the way forward. You don't want to be everyone's friend because you can't cope with everyone. Maybe you can, but most people I know can't cope with everyone. I can't cope with the people that they get. So one thing I would say from what Tracy shared with us as well, I know people who have thousands, thousands of followers on different platforms. Even going to the hundreds of thousands. Yet these people don't engage. They don't buy anything. They're not interested. No, the same people I'm talking about, they will have events, they get 1,000 people on YouTube. You're like, okay, that's impressive. That's pretty good, right? And the next event, they got 6 people. You're like, what's going on? How can this be? They've used a clever sleight of hand to attract people. That's what I think. I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong, right? Now, Cyrus, you have no connection. You have no audio or camera, Cyrus. I can't bring you on stage again. You have to turn your camera on, please. I said, look, now, I'm well aware some of us use some of these tricks, not to be underhanded, but we use the techniques that we know, right? Now, Tracy, you mentioned SEO earlier. Again, SEO, it is legitimate. Are we gaming the algorithms? Maybe. We're trying to get on top of we're trying to get on top of the algorithms in our field, in our topic, in our niche. Is that cheating? Yes, sometimes. I say now, SEO, search engine optimization, people can cheat blatantly. People they've always cheated. This is the problem we have, right? They've always cheated. They know where to stuff keywords. They know where to stuff things that will get more at the higher ranking. But the best SEO people, the white hat SEO, they don't cheat. They help you build and sustain your position and your rankings. So the things about cheating is that the algorithms always find out. They always work it out in the end, and then they'll demote you they'll demote you further down than you ever been before. It's the same with social media. If you've got a network, they will engage. They will be there, and they will stay with you. If you're cheating the system, you lose your friends and your connections quicker than you think, and they will engage anyway. It's a fool's game. So, Dr. Angela, welcome, Dr. Angela Pearson. I see you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. And Henry say, yes, Cyrus, you come back in. I'm so glad you have. Christiana, I'm going to come to you. I'll say hello to Cyrus and I'll come to you, Christiana. Henry says, long-term social media success depends on establishing credibility and trust in a community setting. Agree. There's many words, credibility and trust in a community setting. Those are the key words there. I say, part of my technique, part of my ways in social media today, the way I encourage my clients, my friends to build a network, is to build a community of people who know, like, and trust them. If you can have a group of people who know, like, and trust you, whether it's 10, you probably find that's better than those who have thousands of connections who don't know, like, and trust them. The days of spamming our world with content, thankfully, is dying. But is it really dying? It's dying. You can't build a business on posting funny content anymore. I use the word funny, and as a euphemism, right? I don't mean hilarious funny. I mean content that doesn't really mean anything, pointless content, irrelevant content. But people today are still. But I'm sure you see. We'll see them. No one can write a short post anymore. They can't just write a few lines what they're thinking when they create this, or they find this picture or this video. It's now a life story. I think it's written by ChatGPT. I swear it is. I'm just being harsh as always, right? I don't like long posts. I don't want any of that. I just want you to tell me what I'm looking at and why it's important to you. I don't need your whole life story. And no, I don't. I really don't. No, as Henry says, that requires consistent commitment to get into the truth of each situation. Henry, I agree with you entirely. Tell me what it is, and consistently sharing the truth with everyone. So people can. So many posts these days I dread looking at because I know what's going to happen. And as soon as I click on that more button, I'll be here for a week reading this long post, and the drama. It doesn't excite me at all. That's just me moaning as always. Sarah, welcome. So glad you're here. Thank you for joining us. Dr. Leslie, our goal achievement expert. So thank you for joining us too. Oh, my friends are here today. I'm excited. Thank you so much for being here. Leanna as well. Thank you for joining us. Sean, you found your way. How are you doing, Sean? So I know one of celebrity with 1 million followers and couldn't sell one T-shirt. Exactly, Sean. Isn't that ridiculous? Maybe it's not ridiculous. I mean, people like me are as guilty as anyone, marketers, in other words, as guilty as anyone else, right? But also, there's always those how to do it, 10 steps, 5 steps to anything, right? 5 steps to get to 1 million followers. Now, do you follow them? No, I think, again, as Tracy alluded to, we're all different. Times are different. So what works for me is not going to work for you. I'm well aware of this. I know every time I travel on my events, people are like, oh, if I just do it the way Annie does it, I will get this. No, you won't. You won't. You really won't, because I started off 3.5 years ago doing these events, and I have a longer history. I've got different network of people than you're going to build. So do it your way. As Henry says, share your truths, share who you are, share your stories. Forget about the algorithms. Really, it's never helped. It's there's better ways, there's better results to be had, my friends. There really are, and I said hopefully we'll share some of those today. Yeah, beware of cheating your connections. Exactly that, Dr. Liz. Exactly that. Don't be cheating your connections, because when we try and trick the algorithm, we're tricking ourselves, really. And say the way our algorithms work, we can't win by being cheats. Okay. Cyrus, how are you doing? I want to give you a chance to speak before I put my first video on. Kenny, I see you as well. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining us. Cyrus, are you there? Oh, no. Okay, fine. So happy Wednesday. Celebrating Annie's return to LinkedIn. Now that you joined us. I tell you a funny story. A friend of mine I spoke to before I came on the show. I was meant to meet her on Monday. She tells me she bought 2 bottles of champagne for our meeting. Of course, Annie didn't turn up because I thought she'd cancelled. So she's been drinking her champagne happily. Celebrating the fact that, I don't know, that we didn't meet.
Can you hear me, Annie?
I can hear you now, my friend.
Oh, hi, I'm sorry. I had technical issues. I apologize. Hi, I'm doing well and doing much better now that I'm in your line. Thanks for having me. Scott, your event earlier was phenomenal. I loved it, about psychometrics. And we had Michael's fantastic questions as well. I love them. Tracy, thank you so much for your comments about the background. I didn't make it to for it to be anything really. I just wanted to combine the concepts of wine and podcast. That's all it was intended. As I said, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. So everyone gathers something from that background, and I like your take as well. So thanks for being kind. That's all I wanted to say. So regarding tricking the algorithm, there is no tricking algorithm. There is algorithm rewarding you and not rewarding you, right?
100%.
In this, yes, exactly. So in this game, you are more like me and you are more like a subject to the scientists who actually created the algorithm. So we're not conditioning them; they are conditioning us, right? So you're not playing home, you're playing away. Okay, so you're always on the back foot because you're playing away, and you play on their turf, you play on their terms. So they have set the terms and conditions, and you already said yes to it, right? Now you have agreed to the terms and conditions. You're in there. Now you need to learn the rules before you can play the game. Okay, so instead of trying to cheat the system, learn the system. Once you learn the system, you can use it to your advantage. There's no cheat in it. There's no trick in it, because you can't trick a set of rules. And by the way, those sets of rules change periodically. So there's no point in trying to. I remember back in high school days, we some of us found the final term kind of the final exam questions, and then we sat for the exams and we found out, oh, the questions are different, and then we found out, oh, that was one of thousands of sets of questions that we found, right? So you feel like you've cheated the system, but you actually haven't. And I have tried. I mean, I've wasted my time for a while to learn how to TikTok, because I worked on TikTok for a while, and I thought I learned it. Oh yes, I learned it, and then I got shadow banned. So when you get shadow banned, then it's like you get it's like a sin bin, isn't it? So anyway, the point is, don't waste your time trying to trick the system. Learn it, use it to your advantage. Another thing is, if you really want to make a huge success, just do what Annie suggested. You need to niche down, like not too much, but to the right amount. Niche down, because when you're trying to serve everybody, you're actually serving nobody. And the job of marketing, and what I'm going to share with you now, it's like an unpopular opinion, but I'm going to share it with you guys. I'll let you be the judge of that. The job of marketing is to deter the wrong customers. Thank you.
Yeah, say that again, Cyrus. And that is exactly. People don't realize that. They want to attract everyone. We don't. You want to put off those who you can't serve. That's called mentioned right at the beginning.
Oh, you shouldn't.
Put those who you can't serve. Let them go. Wave them on. Hopefully, they want to come to you, because they want to buy from you. They want to engage with you. They won't return everything. Some might give you a mention, maybe referrals, as Scott mentioned earlier, but most won't. They're just there. I mean, too many. Think of your connections, my friends. Too many of us have connections and people who think are our friends who are just there. They're just there. They don't say anything, don't do anything, don't show up. Don't do it. They just don't help us. And see, when I get those people, and they start demanding of me something, I don't like that. I'm like, what do I do for you, my friend? Nothing. What do you do for me? Nothing. So unconnect with me then. Off you go. Don't like it? The people that I'm here to serve, the people I spend time with, they're fine with it. Doesn't upset them. If it upsets you that much, we're not really friends. Off you go. Oh, I didn't mean that. I meant it. Off you go. Go away. I'm quite harsh that way. So that's why I am. So unfortunately, Dr. Leslie, I say you have to leave. So be well, be careful, certainly. I say, April, I see you as well. So thank you for joining us. So my friends, look, I guess the thing that Cyrus and Tracy and I are trying to explain is this. The algorithms exist for a reason. And I dare say this, my friends, the algorithms want what you want. They want people to engage with your content. They want people who you are here to serve to know you, to like you, to see you every day on top of their feed. They really do. They're not evil things. Like I say, in the early days of the internet, the numbers were high. They were bad enough. So all we've done since then, we've gone from a few thousand websites to more than 8 billion websites. Now, how's Google meant to cope without some way of showing people the content that they want? That's all the algorithms really want. They want to show your content to the right people at the right time. Yes, you can help them, but you don't help them by trying to cheat the algorithms. You work with the way they work. You work with the process, right? This is my point today. That's what you go away with. You know, you have to work with them. If you work with them, they will reward you. Cyrus's precise exact words. That's what we want, really. I want them to reward us because a reward sticks, my friends. Tricks always fail. Always. It's not sometimes. Eventually, you get found out. So now, I mentioned my LinkedIn strategy, search and connect, trying to bypass the process by doing huge numbers of connections per client. Yes, I might, yes, okay, I could 1,200 connection requests sent every month. I might get 5 or 6 phone calls from my clients. That's in professional services. In construction, it'd be 50 or 60. So there were always, so my personal dream, my personal goal was achieved, right? I'm saying, that was taking a shortcut through LinkedIn. But LinkedIn eventually said, we don't like you doing this. We only want you talking to people who you know. They'll only connect with those you know in real life. I'm like, what's the point? You got 1 billion people on this platform. Why are you crying? Just let me connect with them. LinkedIn's like, no, that's not what we are. That's not what this platform is. Carry on. You end up in LinkedIn jail. Yeah. One morning I woke up, all my LinkedIn accounts were closed. Not just mine. My clients' accounts were closed too. That's when I had to realize, okay, there must be a different way. Hence, and it does events. Rather than doing one-to-one connections, now I do one-to-many by having a community of people. They're the ones who come to my events. They're the ones I mix with. I go to their events. So that's what you need. People who truly know you, like you, and want to know more about how you can help them. I want to show you a video in a minute, Christiana. I do see you. How are you doing, Christiana? Christiana? Is Christiana escaping from?
Hi, Amy.
How are you doing, Christiana?
I'm good, thank you. I got thrown out.
Well, you're back again. You're back again.
I got thrown out. So yes, hi everybody. Good to be here. How are we all doing today?
We're doing well, and I say I'm doing well. Better for seeing all of you. Lachelle, I see you too. I'll come to you next, my friend. So glad you're here. I was talking about you earlier, Lachelle. To Christiana, amazingly. We're singing your praises.
We were. We absolutely were.
I'll tell you why. The reason that we're singing Lachelle's praises because Lachelle has a TV channel. It's on Zonda TV. He's a TV producer. I guess you don't know. And so when I look at Lachelle's shows, when I look at Lachelle's events, the people that turn up are the ones that she works with. How many people can you say that for on LinkedIn? I'm saying, you go to people's events, you go to people's shows. Who turns up who shows up? Random people at best. Whereas Lachelle has real friends who really get the benefit of what she does. That's what your customers want to know. They want to know that what you do matters to people. That you're here to serve. Sorry, Lachelle. I don't know why I'm sorry. I'm doing that. That's the conversation we had earlier. Christiana, please talk about our topic.
Can you come back to me in a moment?
Yeah, of course. All
right.
Now I've put Lachelle up. Now let's go to Lachelle first. So Lachelle, how are you doing?
I am doing well. I was in the background trying to stream this to my different platforms, but I'm glad to join you guys. And thank you so much for your kind words. One of the things that I would say about that situation with people showing up is that it's the product of a lot of hard work, a product of a lot of time, building relationships and doing things behind the scenes that a lot of people don't notice. So I think it's something we all can achieve, but it definitely is a marathon and not a sprint. So I'm glad to be here today and to share with you guys. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, nice. Again, that's one of the biggest realities. Scott, are you down to say something, Scott?
Oh no, I'm good. That was a great comment. I'm grateful to have the feedback that everyone here that's on stage is very in tune about just about the subject. So thank you.
No, thank you. And I say that's one of our blessings. I think when you build a community of people, like-minded people tend to hang around together, right? And I'm lucky that my friends, we have a sharing of minds at best of times. The share relationships is where it's at. That's today's social media economy. That's what really counts. If you want people to like your post, my friend, be their friend. Engage with their posts. It's strange that it sounds so easy, right? If you make friends on this platform, it doesn't matter what you post. They will still like and engage with it, right? And it may just be what makes someone say, "Oh, let me call Scott. Let me call Michael. I need their help." You're not always going to get people coming to you because at your event, at your show, on your post. Now, what they do, when they see your content, when they see you, they just, it brightens their life, it brightens their day, and then they're more prone to say, "Okay, let me take that step. Now, let me reach out to them now and be done with it." Right, Michael, Sean, exactly used to say, "Give some more," and then you can ask. I tell you, it's not rocket science, is it, Sean? Not everyone knows this. Dr. Gwendolyn, I haven't seen you for so long. How are you? Dr. Gwendolyn is our education expert who transforms schools, and she's passionate about her improving children's literacy. And she works with schools internationally around the world to make sure that happens. And she's written the best part of 20 books now to help children and their reading. She tends to use a cultural approach, which I think is always unique. So, Dr. Gwendolyn, so great to see you. Really, it's amazing to see you here today. Coach Ashif says, "Don't belong where you don't belong." I like that. You have to look at it. It's a belong. That's a trick, right? There's no reason to stay. It's a good reason to go. I tell you. And too many times, Coach Ashif, too many people have a network of people who maybe many actually want to sell us stuff. That's not a bad thing, whether you call it pitch slapping, or people have take offense to this, to people who want to sell them something. I have no problem. If you want to sell me something, I have no problem at all. I'll listen to you and give you a chance to tell me how you can help me. If you can't help me, I will run the other way before you even really realize I'm long gone, right? Michelle, your YouTube friends are coming along nicely. They are.
Well, what I would say to that, because there's a lot of formulas around sharing our value with other people. And I think, one of the keys for me is to just listen, right? Really actively listen to what people need. And then you simply let them know what you do. Some of these formulas for some people, they may work, but I think, you could have something for somebody and it may be the first time you meet them and you have it for them, So I think getting too much into the formulas can be problematic, and you miss those opportunities of connecting, which is a part of being authentic. I know that if I am in the store and I'm struggling with something as a mother, I would gladly welcome somebody coming to help me, in that moment, rather than, oh, I don't want to be salesy and wait for the right time. I think part of us being knowledgeable about the value that we give is knowing when the right time is. So I think that's an important point to establish as well, because a lot of times, we're waiting and never asking. So I just wanted to add that too.
No, that is so important. Again, I'm one of those, sound like you, Lachelle. There's no point people coming into our space, people who we can help, people with issues, and we let them walk away with the same problems. But it's knowing when you can, when it's a good time to offer your solution. If you meet someone, of course, on a Zoom call, you don't start trying to sell to them. Lachelle's point about now listening, it's a case of just meet people, listen, get to know them. In that course of getting to know people, they will tell you what their problems are. They always do. That's what we all do. And so, the wise ones will tell they tell you the truth. Also, if you listen hard enough and long enough, you hear the problems that they actually wanted to solve for them. There's no need to sell to anyone half the time. Just tell them how you help them, and then those who want your help will say, "Yeah, how does it work? Where can I pay?" Look, I say all this. I'm well aware that many people struggle to sell anything to our LinkedIn connection friends. I think that's not the issue of social media or algorithms. I think it's more, who are you talking to? Where are you spending your time? Are you clear about what you do, how you help? Do you have a real solution to a real problem? So all that talk of belonging, that's the coach actually said earlier. I think that's important. I think so Henry says something pretty similar. So we're always on the back foot. Sarah said we're also on the back foot to the algorithms, because we're trying to make sense of our lives with one another inside of some type of scientist-controlled experiment. Algorithms, they're called, right? The ones that create and rework the LinkedIn algorithms. It's an experiment, of course it is, and the algorithms change all the time. There is a much better approach, my friends. Just be you. Talk to people. I say the world we live in today, in 2025, the world that we're in now. The reason we do events is that you get to see us, hear us. We're not trying to shove a post down your throat, 10 posts down your throat. If you don't like us, fine. Don't engage with our content that when you see it afterwards. If you like us, the people who tend to hang around together, we like each other. So like I said, whatever you share, people will engage because they like you. If no one knows you, they won't engage. Even if you try to use clickbait and all sorts of weird content, don't do it. Let me show you a video quick. I say, it's 3 minutes long, so do bear with me. I think it paints a picture of how the algorithms work. I think we need to understand that the algorithms are not our enemy; they are our friend. If only we learn how to use them properly. Here goes. Oh no! Oh no! It's not me. Is it me? Oh no! Where's the volume gone?
Okay. Yeah, we can't hear.
Yeah, I don't know why. I have no idea why. Let me try and work out what's going on. I have no idea. I can hear something, but I can't hear enough.
Gotta love technology, Yeah.
Don't you just don't you just. Why can I hear what no one else can hear? That's so annoying. Total wind up.
Penny?
Yeah.
I think it would be a good idea if you share the whole screen and then turn the audio toggle on, and then for a few moments share the entire screen. That should resolve the matter.
Okay. It worked perfectly fine on my system. So I'm baffled. So make it to maximum, and then what do I do now? Where's the volume gone? Cyrus, that hasn't solved my problem. Okay, hold on. Let's try again. Let's try. I know what I'm trying to do. So let me stop this, and then let me do share screen, and then do it from there. Even though it's gonna, YouTube's gonna beat me up afterwards, but I'll get over it. Okay. Share screen. Share screen.
But social media platforms have designed to create a better experience for their users. Thanks, algorithm. I've talked about it in other videos. This algorithm makes sense, but it makes it a challenge for us marketers who are trying to reach our target audience. These platforms use algorithm-based feeds to make sure that each user doesn't get bombarded with content that's not relevant to that person. Each platform has a different algorithm. These are constantly changing to reflect the needs of the users in each platform. So, how do you beat this to make sure that your material gets to the top and reaches the highest amount of users possible. First, it's important to understand how each algorithm works, and then I'll tell you how you can combat them. Your Facebook newsfeed. According to Facebook, each user has an average of 1,500 pieces of content available to them, but they're only exposed to about 20%. To give users a great experience, Facebook constantly learns users' behavior and identifies what kind of content they would most likely interact with. So here's what Facebook considers when they're matching content to its users. Every post is assigned a relevancy score. Facebook ranks them in order of this score. So every time you log in, the post that's right at the top of your newsfeed is the one that Facebook thinks you'll most likely engage with. Facebook thinks they know us so well, don't they? Facebook ads are given relevancy scores as well. Facebook only shows ads that could matter to you the most. It's calculated based on positive and negative feedback that it's expected to receive from its audience. Friends. Facebook is giving users options to prioritize posts that they want to see first from their friends or specific pages. When you're on that page of your friend or a business or brand that you like to follow, you can click here and click here to see first. Time spent on a post. The longer amount of time you spend on a post, Facebook is more likely to serve you the same kind of posts. They're really watching us closely, aren't they? Video engagement. Facebook also monitors video engagement, such as turning on the video, increasing the sound, making it full screen. Positive actions such as increasing the sound on a video will lead Facebook to interpret that you like that post, which will lead to similar posts being exposed to you on your feed. Now the question is, knowing these facts, how do you beat the Facebook algorithm when marketing to your audience? Create relevant and shorter form content that engages your audience. Focus on increasing user time on your content and making it relevant to them. Hook your audiences longer in each post by using creative visual content. Now let's talk about Twitter. Have you ever heard the term FOMO? It's an acronym for fear of missing out. The Twitter algorithm was designed as an attempt to get rid of FOMO, or fear of missing out, among its users. Tweet ranking is based on user engagement and real-time relevance. So this means that by default, Twitter's algorithm will put the tweets in front of you that it thinks you will find the most interesting at the top of your feed. But it still has to be recent and organized in reverse chronological order. Tweets chosen are based on the accounts that you interact with and the tweets that you engage with. The rest of the tweets will also be displayed.
You get the idea, I'm sure. So algorithms are here to help us, my friends. They're not here. They're not our enemy. They're here. If we use them wisely, we can get the benefits. Now, everything she said, and I agree with. That's why I use her as my example today. Friends are your number one. That's your number one goal on social media. Again, I'm so amazed people who don't talk to anyone. Don't be that person. If you don't talk to anyone, you don't be, I don't just mean talk. I mean, befriend people. This seems like such a hard thing. But look, everyone here I've met. Everyone here, I could send that. I have no problem sending you a DM. Many of you here, and I'd say on my WhatsApp, and we talk every week. I'm saying that make real friends. Sometimes your friends have needs, yes. If you can help, then you do, right? I don't mean your service. I mean just being a human. Make real friends. If you do that, your results will change. If you want likes on your posts, your friends will always engage. Maybe not all of them, but they will engage. They will like. They will comment. They will share. Because they like you. If no one knows you, no amount of tricks are going to help you beat the algorithms, my friend. I know she said beat them. There's no beating them. Build relationships, and then share relevant content. Share content that helps your friends, potential customers. Right? I tell you what's not going to help your friends or potential customers, my friends. Talking about your health doesn't help anyone. You might think it inspires some, it does not. It bores them to death. Because unless they've got the same illness as you and you're a doctor, how are you going to help them? It doesn't, I know the show talks about depression, so that's a different thing altogether, right? Because the show is talking from a point of overcoming. They're very different to, I've been diagnosed with cancer. Thanks. What do you want to do about that? Yeah, we feel bad for we feel terrible for you. Now, I'm not saying I'm not heartless, right? I feel your pain. I really do. What can I do? What can I do with that information? How does that help me? If you want sympathy, then go lead with your issues and your health issues, especially, right? You get to lots of people, oh, I'm so sorry, which is fine. And there's nothing wrong with that, but that's not how you build a business. It's not going to work. Those people aren't going to buy from you because they think you're too traumatized half the time. So actually, they want to be able to help them. That's my personal take. I wonder what any of you on stage think about the video, especially.
I think it was really good because, you know, a lot of times we try things and we don't have a strategy. Okay. So we're just trying whatever we think we can, listening to people, getting part of a recipe from somebody, something else from somebody else. And I think this is important because, you'll be trying a whole bunch of different content styles and posts, and you won't really know what to serve people. You'll be just all the time at the beck and whim of what the algorithm is rather than being yourself. So if you're being yourself, your content is going to consistently stay the same, and it's going to be something that you enjoy doing, or is capturing something authentic that you do on a regular basis, and it's not hard to show up. So you can be consistent. Maybe I have the same type of content, but I may post once a month, but it's still the same type of content. It's not like I'm, drastically changing who I am and what I'm talking about. So I think this is an important thing to realize because they are looking at the engagement of the viewer, which is important information to know so that you can begin to create a better strategy around that. So I thought it was good.
Yeah, no, thank you. Your posts are always informative, and you have a variety of content in there. So of course, I've clicked through on your post many times, Lachette. I watch your shows. So I know you always have good content that's useful. If you're wondering what I mean by tricking the algorithms, my friends, there's so many different tricks. Post several times a day. Yeah. Okay. If you really want to be, if you got time for that, you do that, right? Post cat videos. Cat videos always win, right? People love cat videos. Yeah. Try not to. At least, thankfully, those days are gone. There's so many different games. Like I say, follow people who follow you, follow them back. Never follow anyone who follows you. That's another trick, right? You wonder. There's so many different little things that people do. Even as far as saying join what we call engagement pods. There's groups of people who will commit to every day waking up and then engaging with their group's posts. Then they go and find, they know who's in the group, they have a list of posts to look at, by the way, right? And then they go and find those posts, then they like a comment and then go on, right? They sound good, but what are you getting out of that? You want some likes? Okay. But the same people doing the same things every day, and that's not going to change your social media experience. It's not going to, doesn't expose you to new markets, doesn't expose you to new customers, if any customers at all. And the social platforms hate engagement pods. You end up LinkedIn jail. Cyrus and his TikTok jail. I never heard of that before, Cyrus, but of course it exists, right? Shadow bans happen everywhere. When the platform takes action against you, they blacklist you without you even know it. They reduce your visibility, they reduce your engagement because they think you've cheated them. James, good to see you, sir. Good to see you. I'm so glad you're here. James says it's hard to get action on my posts and articles. Okay. Does anyone want to give James some ideas of what he can do?
If I may, I would like to add something. I was going to say that the days of spray and pray are over. Gone are those days when people would use just any strategy in the hopes that it would stick, right? So one of the problems that we are experiencing is old knowledge and old technology, old strategies. Simply because if you think about it, most of the teachers online come from 2000 between 2000 and 2010, 2015 kind of school of thoughts and school of marketers. Basically, their strategy would work back then, yes, but they have brought that, packaged it, and they are selling it to kids today or to people today. So those strategies won't work, right? So if you think about it, today's problems need today's solutions, right? So 2025 problems need 2025 remedies and solutions, right? So so let's not use yesterday's solutions to today's problems. That's one problem. That's one strategy I would use. Another strategy that I have learned, which is more practical, is learning what the platform algorithm is telling you, writing it down, right? So what do I mean by that? You need to be constantly spending at least half an hour to 1 hour a day finding out what each platform is offering to people as highly watched, right? So what's the meaning of hot topic or highly watched topic? The meaning of that is, guys, look at these. Many people, maybe in their millions, thousands or millions, have been watching this. Look at it. So for you as a creator, this means I need to create something similar along the same lines. Not similar, along the same lines. Get inspired by it, okay? If you copy one person, you're a thief, plagiarizing. If you copy 5 people, you're an artist, and you're creating art. So steal like an artist. So that's one thing, and also if you if you being yourself, the algorithm would love you because you're being different, because people love different things. So one of the strategies that I've learned is that finding out what captions are selling the most. What do I mean by selling the most? I mean, they're getting the highest number of eyeballs. Create that caption, put it on your video, make it as small as possible. Perhaps hide it behind your logo if you don't want it to be seen, right? So algorithm reads it, viewers can't read it, right? So that's one of the strategies that I've learned, and it works. So create your caption, put it where the caption is as normal, but at the same time, put it on your video, make it as small as possible, and it won't be visible to the naked eye, but algorithm will read it, and it will double perhaps the chances of you getting the visibility that you need. Thank you.
That's what Tracy calls SEO tricks.
Can I say something really quickly?
Of course you can.
Okay, thank you. Jameson, I really want to tell you just 3 things. It's really simple. It's worth a try. So if you are writing something, posting, and you're not getting enough interactions, try this. Ask yourself 3 questions. Really easy. It's a yes or no question. First one, I just wrote it down. Let me read it to you in case I forget. Is there a reason for me to post this today? Second question, is there a value in it? Third question, I am helping someone today. If you have a clear answer to all 3 questions and you can state them, post it. You will get interaction. I'm telling you this because I do write a lot, but I will say maybe 30% of what I wrote actually get onto LinkedIn because they can pass 3 questions. Yeah, they stay with me. Thank you.
So I love your contribution and Sarah's contribution as well. Be yourself. So yesterday's solutions. It comes across as ego, Sarah. It's kind of, here's what I did. You must do the same. No, that's not how it works. That's not how Jameson, look, I get your point, and I can your next comment I think explains it very well. You're engaging over 20 posts a day. Poor you. Stop doing it, Jameson. Stop doing it. Stop doing it. Stop. Don't do it anymore, right? There's people. Look at everyone in this room, Jameson. I'm saying connect with them. Connect with them and do your best to meet as many of us as you can. Really, just do a Zoom call. Like I can't say it enough. Today's social media is about making friends. If you make real friends, they'll engage with your posts and they'll share your posts and they will come to your events too, Jameson. You can try and beat the wall as hard as you can with your head. It's not going to work. It really see there's this weirdism. Do I create content before I build relationships? No, it's not a question. Build relationships and then create content if you want them to engage with it. Otherwise, create the content is fine. Just don't expect people to engage because no one knows you. No one cares. There's so many posts out there. It's so, it's Jameson, look, I can see where you're going. Again, he's saying I use pain point solutions unsolved. I get that. Okay. So
Well, one thing I want to say, about engagement, because yeah, a lot of times we think that, well, I mean, there's ways that we can engage that can help people to know, like, and trust us faster. So, for example, I could see a post that you're doing, Annie, and maybe you're talking about this event tonight. So if I'm not able to attend, then I can share this post and talk about maybe my tip about being authentic, right? Or I could give you a testimonial. Annie has great rooms. I've always get a lot of value from, his discussions and the guests that he has on the show. So I think when people even learn about engagement, there's ways that we can engage that can move the needle forward rather than, just liking a post. If you like it, you could be in with hundreds of people. But if you comment on a post, you could stand out from 10. If you share the post with your comment, then you get to be engaged by even more people. So I think that's a point to even recognize what actually is engagement and is the type of engagement. Because if you're engaging on 20 posts a day, what are you doing? Are you just going through liking those, or are you commenting, or are you sharing, that type of thing? Or even sharing someone's post in a direct message to somebody else. So I could say, Annie, this person would be a great guest on your shows that you have, and then sending a direct message. So I think we should qualify also what type of engagement.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. To get the likes is good. It's not. It makes no difference. Let's be honest. It's what we call vanity metrics, and some people will say to you, "They still count." Look, yes, I want my post to have visibility, people to see my posts, but I also want them to really engage, as like Michelle's saying. Again, we're in a world where the influencers, those who've already built a network, are saying to us, if you get people to do something with you, like your posts, comment, answer your poll, for example, then they're taking the first steps towards becoming your client. They're not. They just they just scrolling social media, basically. Sorry to spoil anyone's dreams. The most important thing is to create content that your target audience can benefit from. And as Michelle says, there's a different level of engagement, right? Think hard. I always think hard about, am I educating? Am I entertaining? Entertainment is what social media has become, right? So you decide for yourself. Are you informing people? Decide on what those things are. But again, yes, talk about people's pain points, but you have to make them understand that you get them. UGC, user generated content, is a good way. Like testimonials, like I said, for social proof. Jameson, it sounds like you don't. The problem, like I say, is you don't know enough people who care. That's a problem, right? Focus on meet more people, care about them. They'll care about you too. The 20 posts you're liking a day. If it was from your friends, they will also seek out how to help you with your content too. Get to know people. Now, Scott mentioned earlier that I'm an extrovert in his show. I'm not an extrovert. As soon as the show is done, my friends, I go to my friends. I go to myself. I shut my door, and I work on in silence. I like that. I'm not a sociable person that way, Scott. I'm sociable because I have to be sociable for business. I do events. I can't be a shy event host, can I? So, I sing and dance when I have to, Scott, is my point, right? I think that's the same with most of us. So, good content might come down to just tell your stories. Tell your story of how you became to be where you are. Tell your stories of how you help people. Tell your stories of what you've learned. See, we're all very good at saying how great we are, but not many would tell you the mistakes they've made. Again, I'm not saying that none of this counts if you have no friends. If no one likes you, no one knows you, you're not going to get anywhere. So I got clients like this on many different platforms. You have to get people to truly know you, like you, and trust you. Those words mean something. Those who do like you and know you and trust you, they will engage with it, but you have to do the extra work, like I mentioned earlier. Literally put yourself out there for people, right? Put yourself out there. Be people's friends. Otherwise, no one's gonna. People don't engage with posts, so there's too many to engage with anyway. Coach Brenda Lee, so glad you're here. I always say Brenda Lee is one of all the tricks, and it's not tricks, techniques for mindset. NLP, hypnosis. This lady has all the techniques to change people's lives. And she can also read your mind from a distance as well, by the way. It's a skill she has for sure. So glad you're here. Because as she says, before you speak, let your words pass through 3 gates. I think that's what Tracy was talking about earlier. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? I'll take all of those, my friends. Now, again, it comes from James. Now, you said it yourself. It's about being authentic. Being authentic. And aiming to help people, to give value. We use the word "give value" too much. It means something. It means helping people with your content. It means if you're not going to help them, entertain them, right? I feel for you, James. Look. We're gonna have to have another conversation sometime. I'd love to know what Scott thinks about this, especially your profile on LinkedIn. When was the last time you read someone's profile, Scott?
I do it daily.
Really?
Oh yeah. The people that there are a bunch of people that try to connect with me, and their tagline always says, "We help executive and leadership coaches book 5 to 10 meaningful meetings every week." And I didn't ask them for lead generation. They don't know how busy I am. They don't know how many referrals I get. But I do get people that pitch slap me. And I want to be very clear. I said pitch. And when I look at their LinkedIn profile, I assess them to understand, do they have any social proof that proves they can deliver the claim or the results or the value, whatever they're trying to sell me, Do they have social proof that yes, they can do that? Yes, they can deliver it. So when I work with clients, I evaluate their profiles to better tell their story. We do want to increase a know, like, trust factor with the people that are looking at us. But yes, I evaluate profiles daily, mostly from the people that try to sell me stuff. You're muted.
Coach Brenda Lee, that is a new one. You read my mind when I was talking when I first met you. So after that, I'll add that to my list of your expertise, right? Now, Scott, I'm amazed that I don't read anyone's profile. Am I ignorant? No. I take what I take from when we meet, and I hold on to that. Your profile means nothing to me at all. I've never looked. I've never been bothered enough to look. Even when I was doing pitch slapping, Scott. And as you alluded to, most of us send those messages about what we do to people because they fit our category. We don't check who they are because we haven't got time to check. When you're doing pitch slapping, it's numbers. It's a numbers game, right? Like I said earlier, I've done it. I know how it works. The thing is that you might get 5 phone calls, you might get 5 people who respond, but there's 1,195 who didn't respond. Who probably never talk to you ever again, ever. So now you can't burn 90% of the people you speak, 99% of the people you speak to. That's what pitch slapping does, really, right? So now we have to find better ways. And Christiana, are you a profile person? I feel you're going to say yes, Christiana. Christiana, have you muted? I can't hear you. It's not just me, I'm sure. Oh no, Christiana, we tried. Does anyone else here use? Are there any other profile watchers here?
Just me. Just me.
No, I read profiles sometimes.
I do sometimes.
Go on, Cyrus.
Yeah, go on, Tracy, please.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Cyrus. But I do just read the 3 sections. The tagline, what's right after the name, pretty much about the person. If that's longer than 3-4 lines, I'm lost. And then the next section will be the last education or work experience. And the next one will be the recommendations, whether it's given or, received. And that's it. Because I will just go by 3, primary sections and 1 line only to save my time. It tells pretty much, I would say 80-90% about the person, and that's sufficient enough to make a quick assessment of that person.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now, Christiana. Tracy, this must take your time, right? You're on Scott. This must take time to read people's profiles. It's never crossed my mind to go to their profile because I couldn't care less.
That's the important part, Annie.
It's not.
How can you not read people's profile? I've
never read yours.
I'm disappointed.
Never read any of yours ever.
You've never read my profile, Annie.
I never have. I've never seen it.
We're done. You and me are
I don't know what your picture is.
Get out of here.
I take you as I take you. I meet you. I like you.
May I interrupt just 1 sentence? Because I think I need to defend Annie for this. Because in my mind, Annie's impression on me is Annie is a very intuitive, and he's probably one of these rare breed that's very, very single-minded person. He probably just, go with whatever he feels. So he doesn't have to go through this technicality to see your profile, to see what you want to show him. He knows how to understand a person.
Thank you,
yes,
Tracy.
He does.
That is true.
I think Annie is indefensible because he eats biscuits without tea. I can't defend him.
It's very, very rare, Cyrus.
How can you eat your biscuits without tea?
So
there's peanuts. There's not many tea.
I'm going to say hi to Tracy. I've not seen Tracy for a very long time. Hi, Tracy. It's good to see you here. And Lachelle, our beautiful mother. It's so good to see you too, Cyrus. We're going to talk later at some point.
Yeah,
Scott,
definitely.
it's nice to meet you. So, on the topic, do you know it's funny because the last time I was on stage with Lachelle, we were talking about this same topic, not the exact thing, but I remember her speaking about during the pandemic how she was interviewing, mothers and speaking to those who were experiencing some difficulty, and she took to interviewing about, I think, 15 a week, when I thought it was 15 a day. I don't know if you remember this, Annie, but she interviewed 15 a week,
Yeah.
and just to get to know them, to build. And this is when people have to build.
You mean Lachelle, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you remember this? We're on the same. The last time she and I were together.
A few weeks ago, yeah.
Yes. So we were having this conversation. I'm saying this to say, I take on board the point, first of all, that we really have to build connections. Now, you mentioned about profiles. I'll be honest, I do look at profiles. I don't look at every single profile, but I do look at profiles, especially when I have people that drop themselves in my DMs, and wanted to build that connection. I want to go into a connection and meet with you, having a bit of understanding of who you are, and how you view things, and if there is an alignment between you and I, and also if if we can work together in future. Now, don't get me wrong. There are times I have looked at a profile and I've met somebody, and my view of that person has changed because I always, despite looking at profile, when I meet with you, I will go according to what my gut instincts tell me, right? But that profile is to have a look so we can have a conversation, a dialogue. I can get to ask you more about yourself and get to learn more about you. So it helps me and helps the conversation, and helps our connection and meeting, to have even more substance. So that's the reason why I look at profile. With that being said, when it comes to the topic of today, I really believe that if you chase algorithms all day long, you're going to exhaust and burn yourself out. When I first started using social media, and it wasn't until the pandemic that I got onto social media. Prior to the pandemic, I had no social media present. I didn't, like, Facebook did not interest me. I didn't care much for it. Social media did not interest me. It was something that other people did and not myself. When the pandemic hit, I kicked and screamed and felt like I was being dragged into social media. It was something that had to be used for, I guess, commercial reasons, for business reasons. What I did in that time is that I got to know people. I remember speaking to at least 25 people a week. I would book these appointments, schedule these calls with people. I was doing about 25 a week. When I think about it now, I must have been crazy, but it was really important to build that connection. And I say that to say, because when we look at the way we conducted business traditionally, offline, and remember, and I'm somebody who was used to dealing with business offline, never online. My business back then was word of mouth and recommendation. I bring that into, and I brought that into social media. The reason why I took to 25 people and so on and so forth per week was because of wanting to build that connection. Because in a traditional business sense, you would, well, my business then anyway, which was fitness and nutrition, you would build connection with your clients. You would meet with them, you build that rapport, and they would want you to work with them, and so on and so forth. So bringing that thought into social media was one of the reasons why it took to getting to know people and building that rapport. Not because I wanted to increase my follower numbers, just because I wanted to get to genuinely know people. But then when I hit a certain number, I said to myself, this is quite exhausting. How can I get to meet with people without having to burn myself out, right?
Yeah.
Because it seemed almost impossible to keep up not only, having new connections, but also maintaining the connections that you have already with you, and having to bring them on board. So it was really thinking about, what do I want? What's important to me? And what it was then and still is important to me is that connection. Because when people connect with you, they get to speak to you, for you, about you, even in your absence, because you've taken the time to build that connection, right? And so they get to pull others to you. They get to, the same way a traditional recommendation works. When you build that connection, that also works online. And don't get me wrong, you can have followers, because now you're commenting, you are having conversations on other people's posts. You can repost other people's posts and make comments on their posts, and you tap into their followers and so on and so forth. But realistically, what I've found in my experience, and having been online now for 5 years, it's the fact that you can truly burn yourself out chasing algorithms, because algorithms change anyway. So
Yeah.
why are we chasing algorithms? It's like chasing ambulances.
Is it?
It's true. It's like chasing ambulances, right? You'll exhaust and burn yourself out. But I also take on board the point that Tracy made, the important questions that we get to ask ourselves. I guess when I heard what she was saying, it was that process of elimination to ensure that what you put out really does resonate, because ultimately that's what we're looking to do. And although people use the word value, but the ideal thing is putting content out that resonates with a certain audience, for you to captivate, right? And capture their attention and their engagement, because that's what we want. And it's what is going to do that for us. How do we really get to do that? And we have this word bandied around all the time: authenticity. Let's be authentic. In addition to what Tracy said with the questions, what is authentic? How are you being authentic in the space you're trying to occupy? Right? Because I'm going to be honest, not everybody is authentic on their post and in their engagement, right? Because for some, authenticity happens and it is extended to sometimes what they're trying to get back. So are you engaging for the sake of sales? Are you engaging for the sake of just putting value out there? Right? How authentic are you being in your post? I read a post today by Dr. Drew Powell on LinkedIn, and when he was speaking about, how much of yourself should you be giving on social media? When we speak about authenticity, are you telling everybody everything? Are you giving 10%? Like, you 100%? And is it possible to give 100% of yourself in your business environment? What does that look like practically? So in saying all of this is to say that chasing social media or algorithms will burn you out. So please stop if that's what you're doing. Take the time to build connections, because when you build connections, you get to find out what people are wanting, what the expectation is, number one. Number two, how you can truly serve. But when you identify how you can truly serve, you get to put out content that does truly resonate.
Truly. No, I agree. I think it's finding that thing that you do that resonates.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people haven't found their thing yet. They haven't found themselves. So almost like they're on social media as if they're making noise. Whereas we need to understand who we serve, what their problems are. Now I know Jameson, I know you said you talk about pinpoints. Now, sometimes that we're not using our clients' language. We're not talking about these things that are really important to them. Let me give an example. Now, say, if you look at sales, for example, sales, I've done sales training, and yes, I learned some technical things, but deep down, anyone who goes for sales training has a self-confidence issue. That's what people address for them, right? The sales coaches make you more confident to really look at a prospect in the face and say, you know what, I know you're talking rubbish. Do you want it? Don't you want it? I said, that's sales training. The skills is not really what I say. How do you understand your customers' needs? And then you must be the language. Again, I spent years talking about marketing. I help you do your social media, I help you do this, I help you create a website. Realize my clients' problems is not about a website or emails or social media. My clients want people to know them so they can sell more. That's why, as I tell you now, I make you famous for a reason. That's a language you speak. That benefits me a lot more than waffling about the things that I think was important to them. You have to get to know your clients. All right, Christiana, hopefully you finish. I'll let you finish. I'll let you finish. Go on, please carry on.
I was going to say, in addition to that, this is one of the reasons why sometimes when we do our live event, even though I plan, different topics, there are times when, like, for example, this week, we end up doing our live event, or the topic is changed within, I guess, 24 hours or 48 hours, because I tend to find things that resonate, and I bring that topic to the table, despite what I had previously planned to talk about. But it's about really engaging an audience, and when something drops, or when a message or a topic or a question drops into my DM, that becomes a conversation on the show, because that's a direct contribution from the audience I serve, for want of a better word. So it's really important that we engage our audience with the right topic, and but not just that, with what resonates more than that.
This is what makes events so magical. The Scott's already hijacked our show anyway. Scott, I don't know how many questions there are. Here you go, Scott. What's the dog's name? Number one.
The dog's name is Django.
Django.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you. We call him Django Bobby, and I apologize for letting him in. He was at my door whining, and he wanted to come in. He wanted some love, and then he wanted me to let him out. So my apologies. I did not mean to.
He's fine. I said, no, my dogs are easily walk in. No, the big beasts. I can't carry them. I'd probably die if I tried to carry one of them. Kenny, yes, such a beautiful, heartfelt-looking dog, and all the other Kenny words. To research and understand your target audience. Don't focus on sales, on content that shows about them in the dream business. Zara, I know you haven't spoken yet. I'm going to come to you next, Zara. Look, my friend, Christiana made some very good, many good points. Look, make your number one strategy. The best way to connect with people is not to read their profiles. It really isn't. You beat me up if you want. I'm saying, but literally, the best way you're going to connect to someone is the people you meet. Okay, that's number one. If you can't meet, if you meet them, even if you can't meet them, your DMs is your best tool. Have honest conversations with them. Now, your DM is a good way to connect with people beyond just hitting that connect button. That's will follow or connect or the connection request message, right? Get to know people. Now, as Christiana says, you want to hear their voice. You want to hear them explain the issue in their own words. And I can hear people thinking, as you were saying, Christiana, it's time consuming to meet everyone.
Oh yes.
The people you meet are the ones who are going to buy from you in the end. Trust me. Take it from me, really. And I can see you thinking again. If you're thinking, I need loads of customers. No, you don't. Depending on what you do, really. Scott Money does. Scott does his service once a year with psychometric measures and screening tools. But in between, he's doing other. So they're doing the coaching stuff, right? Scott doesn't need 25 clients a week. That's ridiculous, right? Scott has 5 new clients coming to him every week. He's quite happy. especially when Scott can retain those clients. Like, in other words, when the need arises, they will come back to you. That's how you build a business, whoever you are. Now, the big companies, your local supermarket. You might think they want new customers. They don't really try. They're there, right? As long as the people who come to them keep coming back to them. Walmart, your local corner shop. I'm saying they all want the same thing: repeat customers. That's what you really want, right? That comes from serving people the right way. When they come to you, you get to know them, you get to serve them, you get to know them and love them even more. They'll come back to you. That's business. This trying to get more new ones doesn't work, right? Jameson, look, I'd rather meet you, get to know you, than look at your profile. Your profile tells me nothing at all. Yes, I get what you're saying, James. James is saying that's how you detect scammers, and also that's how you learn who the person is. No, it isn't. It really isn't. That's a ruse. So, and all those who spend their time on profile optimization, I'm not going to insult you. I'm going to say, okay, you do you. It's fine. If it works for you, okay. Does it really work for you? No. You pay someone to optimize your profile. If you're looking for a job, it might help you in Scott's situation. For most of us in business, we don't sell based on our profile. Someone doesn't look at profile and go, "Ooh, I need that." That's not how it works. Never has been. Now, Henry, I see what you say. So, the ultimate instant ignition is profile, and then a daily accessible and reality-based answer to the simple question, what did you do for me today? Yeah, that's what real friends are. What did you do for me today? That's almost always comes from you talking to people. Now, Christiana, I go back to your 15 people that you're talking to a week, or that Lachelle is talking to a week. It sounds like a lot, but let me tell you, those 15 people will never forget you because they've met you. That's the game we're playing, really. Those 15 people become your good friends. Maybe they won't buy from you today, but they'll buy from you when they're ready, right? They will.
Can I just add something?
Yeah,
Sorry, it's not even that. It's not about even buy from you. It's when you think about it, by speaking and connecting with those people. Even for sometimes when you meet people, they're not always your direct customer, but they will have you in mind, right? And like I said before, in a traditional way of doing business, my business previously was purely built on word of mouth and recommendation. And by connecting and meeting people, what you get is that almost that same traditional way of doing business, because now they can speak for you when you're not even in the room. They can recommend you when you're not even in the room because you took the time to meet with them, you took the time to hear. And here is another thing again, when you next meet with them, the key thing is in connection. Sometimes when you meet the first time, you may not quite gel and so on and so forth. But the second meeting, what I, in my experience, and this is what I did with my clients previously for years, I still do now, is when you connect with people, maybe time has passed when you connect again or you meet up again, either on Zoom or in person, the key details that you remember of them is what reconnects them to you and what makes them feel even better, and they get to trust you. I say it because when people tell you information, some of us retain, some of us don't retain. I tend to want to retain information with clients, with people that I meet, because that is how we connect human to human. And it's also the way you leave them feeling that they remember the most. And so you are the forefront of their mind for the service you provide. So it's that is so important. Both
100%.
traditional business and online business.
The only people that you know are the ones you've met. And because that's now, for the exact reason you just said, Christiana, it's how you make them feel. Now, I always aim to leave people with this feeling of increase, for feeling better, for meeting me, for being happier. It's not a trick. Again, it goes back to this point about caring about people. You want someone to care about you, care about them, right? And you can show them that when you get to meet them. You can show them you really care. You know, I don't know how else you can show you really care. You know, the like and comment's not going to do it. No one's going to remember you because you like their post. Meet them, and what you end up doing is building a community of people who know you, like you, trust you. When the time comes, they'll come back to you. Like Cristiano says, they might even tell their friends about you. You know, and that's how you build a business. You know, I think trying tricks doesn't work. I'm leading up to my next video soon. You know, look, the only people who really care about your profile, my friends, are marketers. Sorry to tell you that. Marketers, they want to see whether you are the target audience. So by all means, optimize your profile. Don't let me stop you, right? Yeah, because it'll help you attract people who want to do business with you. You're not going to get people you want to do business with. Maybe one or two, but not to build the business, right? So, learn to talk to people. If you're not going to meet them in person on a Zoom call, then at least get on your DMs and put energy into that instead, Jameson. Anything else, a hands-off approach to social media does not work. Now, that lady said on the video, we have to, play the game. Be friends, is what she said. Be friends. Friends is everything. Some of those friends, some of the friendships we form on this platform are friends for life. I can imagine some people will struggle with that concept. No, Cristiano is not an online friend. Michael's not an online friend. Scott's not online. No. Cyrus, my friends are not online friends. They're my friends. If I have an issue, I go to them. If I think something, I message one of them. Let's jump on a call. I know what they're doing. They know what I'm doing. I'm saying that's a friend. Don't be a hands-off social media. If you're hands-off, the results you get will be the same. Sporadic, sometime-ish, if you're lucky. Whereas those you spend time with, why would they go somewhere else? When they want what you do, they won't. More chance they'll come to you and say, "Do you know who can help me with this?" Maybe it's not you, but then you introduce one of your friends to them. I'm saying that's how this thing works, really. Trying to just do social media posts and running away will never. That's not no. And reading profiles, I don't know. People are not what they say on their profile because it's a trick. They know what to. Those who optimize profile, the good ones, know what to put there to get people's attention and to get higher ranks on LinkedIn search.
I have a question for you.
Go for it. I'm not criticizing. I'm just stating the facts. Sorry. Go on, Scott, please.
Very sorry to interrupt. I was just curious. I'll make a statement, then I'll issue a question. My statement is, I really don't care what they say about themselves because people talk. But I do care what the voice of their customers say. So my question for you is, I know you don't look at profiles, but if you did, would you look at their recommendations and what their customers and clients and what their testimonials said about them?
No. I should. No, I'll tell you why I say I should. I think one of our biggest fears is bias remorse, right? Bias regret. You buy something and then you realize if you looked at the profile, you might have seen, if you do the reviews, you might have seen something that said that's alarm bells. But again, I said I'm one to trust people, Scott. And if I meet you, I'll take you at face value. I'll say no. I go for all the things Cristiano said. I want to like you. I want us to be friends, right? It will take a lot for you to not want to be friends with me to say, okay, I'm going to walk away. I don't trust you. If we don't gel in a conversation we have, then I will think again. But again, as Cristiano said, I really do one meeting with someone. That's it. The first meeting is just to meet you, to get to know who you are, right? And then after, then I normally arrange another meeting. If you want to talk business, let's meet again to talk business. As I said, I don't want to sell to you in the first time we meet. I don't know you enough. I don't know what the solution that you need is, right? So we need to meet again. I think slow down the selling process on social media. I think, have those conversations, really get to know each other, and then I'll know if the person I'm talking to is even close to what I need. Now, Scott, you give people activities, tests. You can ask them questions. You can find out what they really know. The more time you spend with someone, the more you know what they know or what they don't know. The recommendations, I've never looked at anyone's recommendations. I'm just being honest. If I like you and you do what I think, what you say you do, I'll give you a chance to do what you say you do. Now, for you, you've done my disc screening, for example, right? I say, Cyrus, me and Cyrus have worked together on many things. Michael's, they will spend half a week together half the time. I'm saying these are all things that we can all do. Recommendations, they're useful, but I don't think that. I don't know what my recommendations are. I've got some, and when I look, I'm always surprised, Scott. Right? Oh, that person gave me a recommendation. And I suppose somewhere down the line, I realized people give you recommendations in return for favors or in return for recommendations to them. I'm saying, if I don't know you, my friend, I don't want your recommendation. Thanks. They're like, oh, why be so rude? I'm not being rude. I'm just being honest. I don't know who you are. And while my friends don't know who you are either, nothing you say matters. It's a weird. I've got a different way of looking at social media, Scott. That's why I do what I do, right? I want to get to know you properly. I really want to know you and who you are and how you do what you do. Zara, talk to us, my friend. You've been quiet for way too long. I know it's late in your part of the world as well.
Thank you, Annie. I mean, you were absolutely right. You, Annie, you were absolutely right, because the way you said, people on the first take, they start pitching and they start selling things. And now, I mean, just yesterday I was watching these now the Pakistanis, they are also like joining LinkedIn, and they are really optimized with their profiles, right? And they may be like, they have like, they could be doing jobs, they have their own businesses and everything, but now they post daily about their activities. They don't care about what they're selling, whether that's career coaching, whether that's mentorship programs or anything. They post what they really like, even if they're going to travel on the bus from from point A to point B. They are telling that story in that content. Now, if you're going to wake up every morning and you're going to write about your service, I don't think so any this is going to help out, because every day you do the same thing instead of like, being an activist, being covering all those things that you do in your daily life. And then once you do it, people have that interest. People, they start, showing more interest in you. And this is how it goes. I mean, these algorithms, this is what everybody says, like they are there for more than 2,000 years. And now Babylonian, Greek, everybody, like if you go into ancient times, people were solving people's problems. Now, who knows? Like if you only, yesterday I was watching that there was someone like Jameson. I go to his profiles every day and I read his contents. There's nothing wrong in his content. Absolutely fine. But the problem is, what I think, it's not a problem, it's just a challenge. That every day you're writing about your videos, about your graphic designing skills. Okay. Now, maybe one day Jameson wake up and he takes his dog on a walk, for example, and he's telling about something different. So that is going to bring more people in his post, and he's going to have more reach to his post. So doing something different, and plus it's nowadays it's smart algorithm systems. So when you engage in those creators, those who are there, and having like 500 likes, 600 likes on their post, that's because they're doing something different. They're not just pitching every day, writing about their skills, or telling them, or posting about their testimonials that we have worked for this client, we have worked with that client. Actually, they are helping the real world problems, and that's how you get the reach.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally, I agree with you entirely, Zara. Share your everyday, share your reality, share your prospects, your clients, what you do, how you do what you do. How you think, what you think. That's why I say, this. It's not that your profile is the last thing, because everyone can optimize their profile, and people do. But your buyers don't care about your profile. They care about how you can help them. As Henry said, what have you done for me today? That is what people want to know. And all that only comes from you engaging and talking with them. Jameson, look, you've made my day. We're saying I'm not at all picking you, but as you say, this is rewriting 8 years of LinkedIn knowledge. That area. It's a reality, Jameson. It really is. Relationships is everything, as Michelle said right at the beginning, right? Relationships. Talk to people, like people, get to meet them. I promise you, Jameson, I promise you, if you're going to do people in this room, in a couple of days, connect with them, meet them, in a couple of days, your engagement will shoot up. Really. I post once in a while. I used to post every day for myself. Now I don't. For my clients, I post every couple of days because you don't know. More posts does not equal more engagement. Does not equal more sales. The more people you talk to, my friend, the more people will get to know you, like you, trust you. Thanks, Zara, says Jameson. I hear you, my friend. And Kenny, yes. Kenny's one who understands where I'm coming from on this one. Kenny makes real friends. Kenny doesn't distinguish between online friends and real life friends. I don't think he does. Me and Kenny are good friends, and I've got Kenny's cheesecake recipe. I'm saying, there's ways to be friends. There's ways to be like friends. Don't be like friends. Be friends. Be real friends, right? Cristiano, I took you off the stage. My bad. Have I missed something? No, everyone's still here, right? My friend, this really is about building relationships. That's what you take away from here today. And then once you've got people who know you, like you, and trust you, then you can go and do the, posts. As Zara said, UGC, user-generated content, the people you help, your everyday stories, every day, a day in your business, every so often, things you find funny. Just be you. After you've made friends, just be you. Forget the algorithms because they don't really matter. Those who click on that, you saw in the video, right? People who click on that show first for you are always going to see your post first. LinkedIn used to tell us, if you ring my bell, I'll show your content first to those people. They can't. LinkedIn can't. No social network can show your content first unless you ask them to, because there's so many people that you've rung their bell. Think about it. How many people's bell have you rang? 100? 1,000? Which one's going to come first? That's the algorithm's game. Cyrus, I see you flashing your mic. I'll come to you in 1 second, my friend. Think about it. Now, you're playing a dumb game, right? What you want to do, get some real friends who almost feel like relatives of yours. When they see your content, they will jump on it. Sometimes they won't engage with the content because they can't see it, right? I'm saying don't let the likes and shares matter to you. That doesn't matter at all. Now, Michael shares much content every day. I don't think he doesn't really care about the content he shares. He doesn't buy from them. Most time he's selling anything. It doesn't stop him liking stuff and sharing stuff. So now you can do that, but if you do that with people who actually know you and that you can help, you're away, my friends. Michael, I want to come to you, but Cyrus is keen. Cyrus, talk to us. The Wine Podcast. No, I can't hear you now, Cyrus. That's terrible.
He's probably got a network issue, Annie.
Yeah, he's got two devices. I think one is playing his slideshow. Should
Yes.
you have a look at this slideshow? Okay, I can't make sense of that. That's way. The letters are way too small for my little brain. I'm a terrible eyesight, Cyrus. Yes, go back and come back in, Cyrus. Right. So let me show you one quick video while Cyrus sorts himself out. Hopefully, now this video is more about what you shouldn't be posting, what you shouldn't be doing on social media. Stop doing this. It's a bit longer than the last one, but I think it's useful to sort of learn from. Then I'll come to you, Michael. Oh, we lost Michael. Okay.
And these
Let
are
him show
things
you.
that users should stop doing on social media. Doing giveaways where you have this long list of requirements to save, share, comment, tag, all that in order for a contest or drawing, whatever. Unless that giveaway has something to do with your online tribe. But the wrong way
Can you raise the volume and
something a way to snatch up some quick followers? Like if you have a tech blog, then like give away a computer component. I ran into a page where it not only wanted you to follow them, tag somebody, follow some other account, save it, share it. They wanted you to also save 30.
Nothing I can do.
Come on. Doing that may give you a sudden pop of engagement and followers due to all the tags under your post. What's going to happen is following that, you're going to have a bunch of followers that don't engage with your post. And in turn, no one's going to see your post. You're going to have a lot of followers, but no one's going to see your post because your posts are going to be ranked at the bottom of those followers' timelines, and no one's scrolling down that far before they just refresh the feed or jump to the next social media. Your page will become super stagnant following that spike in followers. And users that pay attention, they periodically cleanse their following, or they'll just begin to unfollow you over time when they see that your content isn't anything they want to look at. Something else you'll have to stop doing if you want to take the app seriously is don't just post and then dip, and don't touch the post for the rest of ever. Post and ghost. If you want to play the game, you obviously have to participate. How can your post stay ranked up high if there's no conversation happening under your post? So again, reply to those comments and use captions that are gonna push the user to engage with your post. It can be as simple as Team PS5 or Team Xbox. Boom, instant engagement. And if you do kind of have a problem with actually interacting, again, try blocking off time for you to interact on social media. I know it sounds ridiculous to somebody, but
It is what it is. It is what it is.
the last thing is you also don't have to stress over having like a theme on your Instagram page layout. And I'm not talking like all of your pictures have a certain color palette. That's cool. I mean like pages where there's like a picture and then like a solid color square here and then a picture there, and like it's like a pattern of content that's filler and informal. But I mean, the filler content is what's going to mess you up here. Unless you're married to the idea, or that's like the type of page you are, you're like a design page, I don't know. Or unless you've managed to actually make what's typically the filler content like still engaging, then you don't have to worry about this. But theme layouts in a nutshell force you to post fluff on your page, and in turn puts fluff on people's timeline. And the fluff post, this even goes for like those like apps where you can like use 9 images to make one big image. This goes for those too, because it's just like you're seeing like a picture of someone's elbow. Yeah, but someone's elbow in the screen, and it's probably gonna get skipped or ignored. And to the algorithm, that's bad, because now your page looks like your page is posting content that's boring and content that will not keep people's attention on the app. Try your best to have all your content in some way, shape, or form have a value to your online tribe. And I have some bonus advice, because you're likely here because you want to refocus and kind of shift the way you use social media. And so this advice is going to be on cleansing your account. So to get rid of things on your account that you don't want hogging your attention anymore, or you have like a lot of big booty models on your account and you decide that you should do better, just start simply ignoring those posts. Start ignoring the big booty models and start turning your engagement and start commenting and liking and sharing content that you actually want to learn and start seeing more of. And then all those new interests will suddenly and swiftly start popping at the top of your timeline. And over time, you will forget that the big booty models ever existed, because those will no longer rank on your feed and all your new interests will. So continue your...
Yeah, I'm sure you get the idea, my friends.
What the heck was that about?
the one thing I've
At the
learned,
very end, who needs to see that?
the one thing I've learned is the one good thing that I think it makes a point about, apart from everything else is said, is simply re-engage with your post. Go and put a comment in your post once in a while. You see, with these events, yes, it's on LinkedIn, but months later, I will always go and thank the people who came to speak, and they also may tag them and say thank you to them for coming to speak. Like today's post, probably see me go back to it in a couple of months, and I'll say thank you, Christiana, thank you, Cyrus, thank you, Zara, thank you, Scott, thank you, everyone who was here, right? That reawakens the posts. That's not cheating. That's just engaging, waking your post back
I have a
up.
question.
Go for it, my friend.
Have you ever posted a comment on someone's profile with over 150,000 followers? No, that's that's the question. Because I feel so happy. Last night,
Yeah.
Annie.
Yeah, carry on.
Last
Please.
night, I posted a comment on Usman Arif. He runs a company here, DevSync, with more than 25,000 software engineers working for him. So he has like 170,000 followers on the LinkedIn. So I posted a comment and about something. He was running a poll about customer retentions. And today when I went to that comment to see, no likes on that comment, but 6,000 impressions. I was so happy from inside. At least 6,000 people saw my comment. So sometimes, even if I'm not posting anything on the LinkedIn, but 6,000 people saw, that's more than enough.
Yeah, Zara. Yeah. I would be excited with you, Zara. But you've raised many red flags for me. Just with your comment, right? How can someone have 175,000 followers and no comments on their post, Zara? How can that be? It makes me question who are those followers. Are they real people? Or are they bought people? Are they Are they bots? I wonder. Everything else that happens about that post, it starts from there for me. And if they're not real people, then the impression doesn't really matter. It's just a number, right? Christiana, go on. I can see you. You dare to comment on this one.
I take on board your point. What you say about it seems a bit suspect when you have over 175,000 and there is no comment on there. And as Annie said, Zahara, is that thing of, are people buying? Because these days of social media, you can buy in audience, which I didn't know this. I didn't know this until I discovered or learned about it. But I think we need to think. My question to you is, with the 6,000 impressions, what was the outcome? Did you receive engagement from any of those 6,000 impressions that you got?
Yes.
Right? Did that result into something positive that you wanted to happen? And if so, that's amazing. But that being said, I agree, because again, I'll go back to my experience in Clubhouse and learning. In fact, I remember David Jones from the LLC, Hello LLC, was somebody that I used to follow on Clubhouse. And I remember what people say is OPP, which is other people's posts and how you can leverage. So the influencers post and how you can leverage their platforms to get audience, and to reach your potential target audience. Because in these huge platforms, there are always potential customers, depending on which niche you're serving. So I can understand and see why you did the smart thing on this occasion to be able to leverage somebody else's platform, because ultimately people where there are people, there's always a potential to have customers, right? A little bit like, how do I liken it? The best way to put it is, when you are in a shopping mall, you have a big footfall. And if you're a new business in that shopping mall, because you already have the footfall, there's a likelihood that you are going to draw in the customers along the way. So the same thing applies to other people's, posts and social media platforms, is that you're going to get that footfall from them. Now, their audience may not always post or comment or interact because they're used to the behavior and how that person or that influencer and the reason why they're there. But you, as someone who's going in, might think, oh, why is this so empty? Why are nobody commenting? But you really have to look at their history to understand the behavior of that influencer and how they've been able to garner over 174,000 followers and reaches. But again, I know that people do buy in audiences. That was just my 2 cents in.
Now, well said. It's more than 2 cents. I have the £2.50, right? No.
Thanks.
Well said, Chris. I think that now the numbers. Maybe the one thing I would hope everyone who's here today will do, and even those watching a replay, is ignore the numbers on your posts. It does nothing for you unless they're gonna call you, as Christiana said, and say, "Please help me. I got my card in my hand. How much does it cost for you to work with me?" That's the results that really matter. Number of people you
see,
talk
Annie,
to.
What I meant was, like, there were many people when he posted, whenever he posts something, Usman Arif. So I see like 300, 400 likes on his post because he has like got 150,000 followers, and he has been an activist who is going to different universities here, engagements and with real-time engagements in the universities with students, having that tech-verse events and being a speaker everywhere. He's like an entrepreneur who is like very famous nowadays. So, but what I meant when I left a comment there, explain, giving an answer for some poll he opened, where so many other people like gave their insights, their comments. But what I meant was that when you leave your comments on Jerry Wick, for example, you leave a comment on his post, you automatically get some, people coming back to your profile because you wrote some value. You wrote some comment there that people went through it, it resonated them, and then they came back to your profile. So this way you do get, more.
Yeah, look, again, I hear what you're saying, Zara. Commenting can be a good way to trick the algorithms, right? But it matters whose post you comment on. That's with people who are in your target audience, is my point. People you're trying to attract. Now, again, if I go by your numbers, Zara, 300 likes or 300 comments on someone that's this person you're mentioning, Zara. Do you know that is 0.17% engagement? 0.17%. That's a shocker. I'd rather have 100,000 followers and connections, and I get a good number of engagement. Not 300. I take 30. I take 50. I'm saying that
means
more
the
than,
social media algorithms have been changed.
yes, they've been conned. They've been lied to.
It means like now they've been changed into.
The fact that people buy followers, as Cristiano said, is
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now, my friend. I'll bring you up in a second. But that is the truth, though. That is, ignore the numbers. The numbers don't matter at all. Don't let the numbers fool you. Anyone's numbers. And Cristiano is dead right when she says the trick that works for someone depends on the moment in time and who they are and who they're talking to. You know, many people think if I just copy what that person's doing, then I will be good. You won't, because take me for example, Zara. I got friends who I've been building for the last 3.5 years, right? And it's not as many as some people would like, but I'm happy with my friends because they show up for my events. They show up, they comment, and when I do a post, they will engage. I'd rather that. And look, every night, every so often, I'm saying that almost every week, I'll have a new customer at least from what I do on LinkedIn, from these events, and the people that I know. I'm saying that is a better return than most people get on social media. Now, that's not from any tricks. It's just from me turning up, doing what I do, showcasing my friends like you, Zara, like Cyrus, like Michael, like Christiana, and many more. And then people go, oh, we get what Innie does. Oh, he's got a book as well. Let me go and buy the book. I say that's how you want to build your audience. You want to be people who truly know you, like you, and trust you. That's the game that we're really playing. That's where the money is at, my friend. Anyway, Cyrus. Michael, you haven't spoken yet. No, Michael, we lost you early, didn't we? Michael? You haven't unmuted. In which case, I'm going to have to go to... Okay, Michael, you talk to us, Michael.
Yeah, you lost me. But go ahead. Go to Cyrus. Go to Cyrus.
Okay, then I come to you. Cyrus, the stage is yours. Where's your presentation, man? Have you got a different way of doing it? Cyrus? Oh, okay, your presentation is here.
I got it.
I saw it. Okay, yeah. Should I put it on screen or should I take it off?
No, please. It's fine. It's okay. So, I'm going to show you guys a way, like as to how you can use LinkedIn to your advantage, because we all want to find out how the algorithm works, right? So I'm going to show you a hack that it works for me and works for my clients. So this is how we do it. So have you ever wondered, in the eyes of your viewers, in the eyes of your clients and friends and family, how you appear? Have you ever wondered what kind of brand you are? Because your brand is not just your logo, it's how you communicate and how you are perceived in the hearts and minds of people around you, right? So this is how you can hack into that and find out. So if you pay close attention, you'll find out LinkedIn tells you what's really going on, right? So LinkedIn, if you go to your profile and go to your about and find out who searched you and where you appeared, right? So you will find yourself in comments, posts, searches, and network recommendations, right? So you don't need to hack the system. You don't need to trick the system. System is working for you. Why should you try to trick your employee, right? So why should you I don't know, offend your employee? They're working so hard for you, right? Imagine how many people are working in LinkedIn actually as the employer. They're all working for you. That half of them are working for you, the other half are working with you, right? So there you go. So what we do normally, we check the last 90 days, right? We check the last 90 days. Now, one of the people who's in the show now, Zara, just checked. The LinkedIn tells you, right? LinkedIn tells you who's coming to your profile, who isn't, or whatever. So there you go. Any has come to the profile. Check. So you go ahead and all other viewers, from all other viewers and downwards, you click and hold the mouse and go down until you fill up for like 90 days, right? So now you have a big pool of data. These people, believe it or not, they have come to your profile, they've checked you out. So you copy them, you take them to ChatGPT, then you paste them here, right? So I've already done that for you anyway. Then copied and pasted here. They're already here, right? Then you copy and paste your profile in there as well. So you go to your profile and copy and paste your profile as well, right? So I'm going to copy and paste my profile as well. Go from your about section, right? You copy and paste all of that as well. Copy, and then take it to ChatGPT and paste it in there as well. I've already done that. From about me, go until the end, right? Then you ask a few questions. Who are these people and what do they want? Then ChatGPT tells you the top 10 industries viewing your profile. You'll find out who's after you, who's after people like you, right? Then you know what kind of people you're actually creating your content for, right? Business consultants and services, marketing and advertising, media services, right? Podcast and audio and video production, professional training and coaches, real estate and investment services. So these are the people who are after my profile, right? Then I learn a little bit more, which is good. Then I go further down. ChatGPT has told me what attracts them to your profile. One, the title and your title and tagline. So this tells me it is to a great extent optimized. So serial entrepreneur, podcaster, etc., etc. Signature services. So I've got signature services on there. So lyric marketing offering. So I do lyric marketing. I create songs and whatever. It doesn't matter. What really matters is it tells you what people are after and what they are attracted to. Now you have two important factors that you've learned from it, right? What do they likely want from you? Help launching and improving their podcasts, lyrics and songs, brand strategy and positioning, SEO, and what gets them found, etc., etc. You go further down. What should you make more of? These are the questions I've asked, and it's already answering me, right? So all of those profiles, I put them in ChatGPT and I ask the important questions, right? What do they want to see? And ChatGPT is telling me behind the scenes. And I've already told ChatGPT, behave like a LinkedIn expert, right? So you give it the role. Content for coaches, founders, and authors. So I've already found out decision makers and CEOs come to my profile. So this is one of the best ways that I have been using for a while, and it works, guys. I hope it works for you as well. Thank you.
So yeah, that is beautiful. That is very good.
Mr. Genius as always.
That is very good, right? That is super.
Thank you.
That is more than good. That is awesome. I must say, I had a question for you, Cyrus. So, you began talking about who views your profile. I look at that a lot of the times. What I find is when you're a LinkedIn Premium, you're able to view those profiles. When you're out of LinkedIn Premium, those profiles of those who've viewed your profile and the I suppose the industry that they're viewing you from is somewhat hidden. What it does is it will show you the first 5, and if you're on LinkedIn Premium, you will see all of it, which I have previously. If you're not LinkedIn Premium, you see the first 5, and if you've had, for example, 300 people view your profile, right, in any given 2-week period or in a month, then you don't always get to see those 300 people. You see the first 5.
Yeah, there's a way around it, Christiana.
So
yeah, there's a way. There's a way around that as well. Look, when you're not a premium user, some of the stuff is kind of blurred out, right? It's kind of blurred.
It is.
And and what I've learned is so as an example, when I get coaching requests, I just just take a screenshot and put it in ChatGPT and say, try your best, unblur this for me and tell me what it says. And ChatGPT, as an example, I'm not sure, no, you can't see my screen. So if something's blurred out and you really, really need to unblur it, just screenshot and put it in ChatGPT and tells you what it says. But in terms of viewing the profiles, the first 5 or otherwise, that is beside the point. The main point is copying all of those and um, getting ChatGPT to help you to devise a strategy. So it's more of a grand scheme kind of thing, grand scheme of things kind of thing, not just this profile or that profile. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
1 or 2 or 3. Doesn't matter. When you check in 90 days worth of content, worth of profiles, it gives you a general trajectory, like which way you are going, which way your audience wants you to be going. So ChatGPT just told me what I need to create for these people. What is it that these people want? What is it that they are attracted to? That was the point, basically.
Yeah, look, I see where you're both coming from. Christiana.
I,
Here's something people didn't know. Go on,
I've done
Christiana.
the long way around as well. So the other way that I did what you are saying is having those people who are blurred. You have a ChatGPT will show you what industry or where they've viewed you from. For example, they can say 3 have viewed you from LinkedIn itself, 3 from X, Y, and Z. And in the past, although it's long-winded and it takes time to do so, it's having to check those companies and looking at potentially where the comments have come from and tie that in, because that gives you an into the person so that you can contact them directly and say, thank you for viewing my profile. They won't probably notice that you notice that they have done because you think they're hidden. But there are ways around, like you said. For me, it's I suppose being the long-winded way of doing the same thing. It's more, I find it more time consuming, or I found it more time consuming, but you get it, you get the results in the end. And ultimately, I agree with you, Cyrus, is really understanding the analytics to ensure that what you're putting out as a content resonates and is who you're truly serving, and how can you serve more of those people. What is it they're looking for you to bring to the table, and what are they going to pay you for? Because ultimately, yes, we might have shiny stuff on LinkedIn, but we're here for business and we want to get clients, so what are those clients going to pay you for? And the way that you're doing it will be the fastest way to get those answers.
Absolutely. If you find out what they need and create it for them, that would propel you forward. Otherwise, the
Magical.
dark side of yeah. Otherwise, the dark side of um, uh, data analysis is analysis paralysis, right? So you sit down and just you'll be pulling your hairs out. Unless you're any, you wouldn't have to do that.
I'm trying. Look.
Any set does exist, Cyrus, but it's invisible.
Yeah.
You can't see it.
Yeah,
does exist.
It's blonde, really. It's blonde, really. Only on screen it disappears, right? Look, as you're talking, Christian, I'm reminded of a company called Lead Forensics. If you know who they are, they came to me a few years ago, right? They're like, Eddie, we can tell you who visited your website. We can give you their phone number. I'm like, oh, that sounds exciting. Like, I'd send a couple of grand. I'm like, I ain't paying that. They're like, oh, okay, a couple of £100 then. I'm like, I ain't paying that either. See, I'll try it for 3 months, they said, Christiana. So I did. In that 3 months, we had visitors after visitor after visitor. I could.
Oh, by the way, Annie, I'm sorry I'm interrupting you.
Go on.
Yeah, I was going to say, your shows, did you know your shows are being watched a lot more than, later on, a lot more than they are being watched now? Did you know that?
Yeah.
Every time I go to my websites, views, and where the data comes from, when I analyze that, I've realized a lot comes from Germany, Australia. You don't believe that. From Germany and Australia, and from Canada and America, and most of it comes from there, and the least amount is from the UK. So you're I've checked that on the days that I actually come to your shows, right? And you are more of an international person than just a UK person, as it stands. And that made me so happy. I was like, yes, that's such and such date. And when I go back and check the dates, They are exactly the days that I've come to your show.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
wanted to add that bit as well.
No,
And
look,
you've turned into an
again,
international figure, mate.
yeah, no, look, it's useful to have a rough idea, right? Now, like I said, with the lead forensic thing, it's a big leap to go from someone who's visited your website or your LinkedIn profile to someone who actually makes a purchase. My question to you, Christiana, is in in looking up and trying to engage with those who visit your who leave a comment, even that, and those who engage with your profile. How many sales have you made, Christiana?
Good question. You mean this year, last month, this month, no month? I've made,
And
to be honest with you, I've made more sales than I thought I was going to. Remember, you have to remember that I talk about me not always being on social media, me not being on there, because I know that if I engaged more, I'll probably have even more sales. But I'm barely on LinkedIn. I'm barely on LinkedIn. I'm barely on LinkedIn. I'm barely on LinkedIn. So I do get. I think when I say sales, for me, lately it's been more organizations and actual individuals, which is, I guess, ironic because I do more live. The live shows are based for more individuals and like couples, right? But instead, people are watching, but they're coming to me as companies as opposed to individuals.
Yeah.
So then it begs the question. Yes, but yes, but it's also when I've put commercial what I believe is commercially resonating post out, it doesn't pull in the crowd. It's the individual post that I put out. I post in both crowds. So I guess what I'm trying to say, in a sense, is that we're all humans, and it's a human that you connect with that will want to bring you as a service into their business or their company, or introduce you into the company. Yeah. But yeah.
I'll take that. Well said. Say in 3 months of leads forensics, trying the platform, I chased phone numbers, I chased their websites, I chased their emails. My friend, I didn't
chased ambulance.
single sale. I told them go away. I found out my friend was paying the grand and a half that they charge a month. I'm like, what are you paying for? Nothing. I'm like, better stop then. Say, look, get to know people. When you get to know them, those who need your service will come to you. Forget the algorithms. And there's some benefit in looking at the analytics. I agree, Cyrus. But even then, people jump on your profile as sometimes as a mistake. Sometimes to check something. More often than not, is marketers trying to sell to you. They never buy from you. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, people. I'm just being honest with you. So the numbers mean a lot less than people you engage with. Engage with people. Forget the number. No, forget the numbers. Really. As long as if you're sharing content about how you help, the people you help, the benefits you provide. I'm not saying in a dry way. I'm saying showing people who you are, how you do what you do, why does you trust you, what makes you different to the others, how you can help them, even entertain them sometimes, right? The algorithms will work for you based on the people that you know. Michael, you've been far too quiet. Sounds like you're actually working, Michael. I know that's not the case, right? I'm joking.
Well, you guys talking.
Hi, Michael.
Annie, you're brutal, man.
Chatting away.
Me and Michael are
My
brothers.
gosh.
We talk every day, so it's not that we don't talk. We talk. I know Michael.
Your voices have become so used to your voices. It's kind of like they put me to sleep.
Are we boring you, Michael?
That's a compliment. I'll take it.
Yeah, I just
is it our
I just
dulcet
woke up,
tones you love?
with Annie just calling me and saying, Michael. I'm like, oh, somebody's calling me. Oh, that's Annie. Michael. Yeah.
Annie, do you have any brothers?
No, I got two sisters.
Yes,
Okay, Michael,
sisters.
you're gonna have to take one for the team, bro.
You're absolutely right there. You're absolutely right there.
Good luck with that.
Well, I was gonna ask Vino Torino why he's not selling this his methods. I mean, if you actually put a PowerPoint presentation together and started talking about what you just presented, I believe you'd have something to sell there, brother.
He's creating his book.
I'm particularly I am particularly interested in what you just actually put up together. I think in what, maybe what, 15, 20 minutes, I think, and then you presented it. That's pretty damn good. Very versatile. And
That's why I called
you.
him a genius, Michael, because he's always coming up with these things.
yeah.
I would like to
And
live in
on top
Cyrus's
of that,
brain. No joke.
on top of that, I'll call him phenomenal.
And you guys are making me blush. I think L'Oreal's gonna be after me. Like,
It's not ridiculable. It's phenomenal. We'll take it.
Yes, totally ridiculable and ridiculable and also phenomenal. That's
you
what
guys
he
are
is.
amazing. Thank
Can we
you.
come and live in your,
Cyrus.
can we come and live in your brain, Cyrus?
Honestly.
Like, cut it in half so we can fit inside there. We can. I mean, I'm
And-
someone who is all about
And guess
psychology.
what? I'm listening to Christiana, and she sounds like, one of those voices that's coming out of DNB. Her voice is just
She's so
incredible.
podcastable, isn't she, Michael?
Yeah, she is.
Um,
I mean,
much unlike
if she
me.
was to rhyme and to rap and to sing, and I'm like, this lady was a singer at some point.
Any you are podcaster when you're in a good mood, mate.
Oh,
Don't stop
hit me.
me.
Don't hit me, Christiana, please.
You tempted her into singing, so I blame you for that
You
one.
just heard it. You just heard that, didn't you? I mean, I elevated here. I thought I was, like, damn. I'm just
Yeah,
off the
Christiana is
sofa
definitely a
here for
hidden
bit.
hidden gem.
And then she stopped, and then I
Stop,
dropped.
guys.
And I'm like, oh.
Michael, here's the thing. Annie hates me singing, so I'm like, I'm just gonna keep it quiet.
Yeah, she's got such a beautiful voice. It's,
Thank you so
she
much.
doesn't have to make so much effort, and that's amazing. I wonder what her boys are. Geez, they must be loving it. In
He
heaven,
does.
they're like coming back home. Well, we're in heaven. Yeah, I know.
We do that in the car. That's our car journey every morning to school and back from school.
Honestly.
So that's where we are. And frankly, okay, so getting back to the subject, you guys brought up a lot of excellent points, and the way I see it, really, ultimately, is yes, authenticity is well, from my perspective, when I really started digging into what you call it, into media, social media, or just really getting into it, and it wasn't. I didn't care about selling anything. No, I was not in there to sell anything. It wasn't during this was during the COVID period, a time in which I was all alone, in my room, in four walls. I was in a lot of pain. DVT, I just got on the news about that and how, how bad it was. And I was just feeling it. I was really, really feeling it. And I was lonely. And that made me kind of crazy. And the way when I contacted my sisters, and then I started going online and contacting my friends and started chatting away, and really just this started, I'm really all times of all times of the night, I was on social media, and they were like, Michael, you're 24 hours. It seems like you're on social media. I'm like, really? I do sleep. I do listen to music like almost 24 hours. Yeah, that's true. That's but how well, I never even told you that. But why is this social media thing such a big deal to you? It's like, are you normal? Am I normal?
Michael, can I say something? Do you know when I first started to get to know you, I used to ask myself that question: does Michael actually sleep? Like, I've seen all this posts and all this things.
That's not point. Let's ask a question
When
now.
does he sleep?
Yeah.
He's like, Annie, when does he sleep? This is why you two get on so well, because you both do not sleep.
Well, it was a very famous question. Do you sleep? Do you sleep? Why are you on this thing all the time? You got something wrong with you. And then my sister suggested you need to go see a psychologist. You need to see somebody. You need help. It's like, oh, jeez, I need help, man. What the hell is she talking about? I need help.
That's a sister's love right
Like,
there.
yeah, it's just telling me calm down, and like you need help, and I'm like, God. And then she blocked me, and I'm like, fuck, this is serious.
That's pretty bad, Michael.
And she's not the only one. And other people started blocking me, and I'm like, hey, your brother is he something? I'm like, my friends, damn. So I didn't know what to do, but it was helping me out. So I was on Facebook, I was on Instagram. I was not so much onto LinkedIn, but yeah, I was there just a little bit. Um, Facebook, Instagram, yeah, I was just toggling between that and also YouTube, just going back and forth. Um, the only time that I actually blew up on LinkedIn was when I met Annie. After I met Annie, and just I started looking into LinkedIn a little bit more and just doing my own perusing, putting in my own posts, and then I meet all you other guys, Cyrus, Christiana, and all these other people. And yeah, I'm doing all my stuff, what I used to do, or what I still do. I don't really do that much on Facebook, but yeah, what I used to do on Facebook and Instagram, creating content, and also at the same time borrowing content, commenting on it, staying up, just and essentially my specific things that I was looking for something. I was looking, and right intrinsically, I was looking for the creator. I was looking for the creator, um, because deep down within me, there was something had cracked, something had gone wrong, and I needed help, and I knew I could not get it from anywhere except in the creator. And finding the creator was, I found the creator through music, words, poems, and every once in a while he'll talk to me through visions. Every once in a while, and I'd I'd share this with other people, and that was my thing. I love to share. I love to, I just don't keep things to myself. I love to share. I like to get feedback back. I'd like to get opinion, and I like to grapple with people, with ideas, with things that, you know, I find fundamentally flawed or fundamentally not working, or something that fundamentally works but is not known out there. Just getting the word out, what's out there? Who are you? What are you doing? Let me shake you up a bit. Grappling with people. The word grapple. I used to watch this. Uh, your son is probably watching this, Annie. It's called Baki the Grappler. It's a Japanese anime. Um, and I
No,
enjoyed it, and I
that's not.
really took that up. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure you're probably familiar with it too because you probably watch it with him too. And he's got his cuff, the way he builds his muscles and he does his isometrics and everything. I used to watch that, and I really enjoy that. But that's how I see myself is a grappler, someone who's grappling with the ideas, grappling to find myself, grappling with the world, grappling with the universe, grappling with anything out there that I feel not normal and abnormal, what I think is not normal. But I believe that it should be normalized. But then I come to the conclusion, well, every time I try to box something in, it fights me. It says, no, I don't want to be boxed. I want to be different. I want to be this. I want to be that. I don't want to be put in this little container. I have my own thoughts. I have my own ideas. And as an engineer, you're always trying um, to get a result that's always consistent, that's always and a process that always allows you to get that consistent method or methodology, the methodology that's always consistent, that a process that produces the same result over and over and over and over again. But I find that the universe is not like that. And I started figuring that out recently. The universe is not like that. The universe is ever changed. And this is a conversation we've had a while back, Annie, and it was through that conversation, and Cyrus pointed this out, is that the only thing that is constant, fundamentally constant about the universe is change. And that applies to us. Human beings change all the time. We are an amalgamation of change. Numerous amount. Where interests are varied all over the place. You know, we wake up. I mean, you can't. I'm pretty sure Christiana cannot tell you that on this day I did this, and on day such and such and such I did the same thing. No. Each day you live is always different. Each day you live is always different. Never the same. So it is true what Cyrus says. The universal constant is change. It's always going to happen. It's always going to be there. And that's the thing he's teaching. He's teaching his daughter, and which is great. And I'm like, oh, Cyrus,
Michael,
this is awesome.
I was going to laugh. Sorry to interrupt. When you said notices are the same, I was going to laugh and say, unless you're doing a challenge, then every day is the same. I'm joking.
That
ain't gonna happen.
Yeah. But you're grappling for details. You're grappling for constraints, and that's how you're trying to constrain the universe.
But
the
yes,
universe
you're right.
does not want
It's not
to
the
be
same.
constrained. Right. The universe does not want to be constrained, and it will never want to be constrained. So you got to come out of it, thinking to yourself, these algorithms, you're never going to know them. They're not going to want to be constrained. No.
Yeah.
They're always going to change. So chasing them, like you said, is foolhardy. You know. So what do you do?
I love that word.
Go. Oh, you like foolhardy? Yeah, okay.
That's a nice word. I like that kind of word. Yeah, it's quite
Oh,
it's
okay,
quite 40s and 50s, isn't it? Foolhardy.
All right. I'll loan it to you. You can pay me a few cents to use it.
Love it. I'll pay you royalty for it.
Yeah.
I was wondering who this
Certainly appreciate it.
new dude has joined us. It's actually Cyrus.
Cyrus was messing about.
You know, let me tell you the story. Let me tell you the story
Mr.
behind this brand. Right?
He's changed his name,
Story
right?
time.
So Coach Ashif says,
Go ahead,
talent
Cyrus,
all
go ahead.
around. I think just you singing, Christiana. So, the
Do
value.
you know any? I sent a message saying, "Are we still live?" You didn't get my message. I was like, "Damn it, we're live."
I didn't get that.
I forgot we're live.
So I like
Either he didn't get it or he totally ignored it.
This is not good.
totally ignored it. Henry says, consulting ChatGPT to find out what your followers want to hear seems very reactive and inauthentic. I'm with you on that one, Henry. So wouldn't a better approach be to ask and answer the question, what LinkedIn contributions do I want to be remembered for after I'm dead? Better still, ask your friends. Don't say, what do you want me to help you with? What contribution can I make that will make a difference to you? And even meet
I
people.
have a problem with that statement.
Go for it.
Because, Henry, I do believe that when you say I'm dead, that never really actually happens.
Oh, now I'm going to argue about is
you'll never die, Henry.
Okay.
Because you will be remembered in the minds of many other people, and so you'll be alive in so many other hearts.
Yes.
Henry will live on.
That way.
If any is still alive, he'll remember you.
I certainly would.
Henry.
Henry's a remarkable man.
So Henry will remain alive. in the minds and and that's what comes back to that story about Traore and being Traore being like Nkrumah and Traore also being like some of the number of Pan-Africanists who were killed or martyred. But it goes to show we remember them, so they never really truly died. They
Yeah,
actually lived on.
I can believe that. I think that there's something.
Death is not final. It's not the
Apparently.
final. It's not the final. What should I put it? It's not the final destination.
I'll tell
I
you
do
that.
believe that there is no final destination, and I also
I've watched 6 of them.
Look, there is something.
Here we go.
Look,
I also
Cyrus,
believe that everybody is a universe.
Listen,
Cyrus is a universe, Henry is a universe, and Christiana is a universe. And each universe expands, like the universe that we're in. Each universe expands and changes and grows.
May I
all
please
the
say
time.
something to what Henry mentioned as well? Annie.
Yeah, go for it.
You know what Henry said made me think. Yeah, I agree with his comment as well. I think a combination of both methods works. But obviously, it's not possible to contact everyone on your LinkedIn. You can do polls. Yeah, it is possible. So a combination of both approaching people on one-to-one basis. If you have the time, if you have the energy, you definitely need to do more of that because that's more organic. But the reason I suggested using ChatGPT is because it is objective reality of what's happening on your profile. So who approaches you, and the system tells you, because the system is fully familiar with LinkedIn. ChatGPT is fully familiar with how LinkedIn or any other social platform, for that matter, functions, and is capable of providing analysis. What you do with it is up to you. So you can leave some room for contacting people on a one-to-one basis as well. At the end of the day, it is your business, and maybe you built it upon one-to-one. If it works that way, it is. I agree with you. It is actually recommended to do it on one-to-one basis, human to human basis. However, the system can provide really valuable insight as well.
And it's also
regarding,
a time saver.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And that's what ChatGPT does. And I agree with both of you. It depends what your business strategy is, really. And regarding this, and Christian and Michael and everybody else watching, this dude in America ordered this brand, and I created it for them. They said to me they want an American brand, a brand of hammer that says American all over it, and that's what I created. That's what I created for them.
Okay.
So
awesome.
they said a hammer that says America. I said, well, how about America? So that's the story behind this one. And then the tagline is, "You nailed it." I created that for them as well.
We like that. We like that. So welcome, Jackie. Never too late. It might be a long replay to watch, though. Thank you for being here. So at Jackie's room last night, I wasn't myself, so I missed that one. That's Travel with Jax. So do connect with that. Go along to her rooms for sure.
Annie, this has become this has now become the late show.
I know. No, we're going soon, Christiana. I think Sarah brought us back to where where we want to be. As Henry says, the universe seems to be trying to understand itself through our conversations with one another. So we'll never end, Christiana. The end's not the end. I'm joking. And Sarah's made. Sarah, he's a genius at generating traffic, and that's why he knows how to use the numbers and find the information that could help in terms of performance of content, right? And that's what he does for a living. I say, you have to understand.
Especially when I'm driving, I'm good at that.
Yeah,
I create a lot of traffic.
That's it. Whether creating brand names or whether he's creating using analytics, using SEO. Cyrus is, he's a genius at that. And whatever trick you can find, don't use tricks. Use things that are sustainable. It's America. It's not a gimmick in a sense that it's a concept, right? And he's managed to pull it off. I'm saying that's what you want to be doing. You want to be creating a brand that's identifiable, and the good things is identifiable for. That's how you beat the algorithms, really. But look, my point hasn't changed from when we started. Get to know people, get to create content that those people want to see. It's not those people that are your ideal customers. The more you know people, the more they're interested in what you do. If you don't know anyone, they won't care less, really. Everyone here who's made real friends sees the benefits in their posts. That's the thing. We all do. We see our number, if we get to 30, 40 likes, I'll take it. That's enough for me. But simply because I don't want to respond to all those people, all 30 of them and more, to thank them for anything, because that's time consuming, right? I want to talk to 4 or 5 I actually want to buy. Go on, Christiana.
And there's another way of looking at this, right?
What's that then?
If you went to the forest and screamed as loud as possible, nobody would hear you.
They wouldn't care.
Nobody would come to your rescue. They would not care about you. It's true.
I agree.
They would not care about you.
I agree.
That's like screaming in the forest.
Yeah. I think that's a good way of that's a good analogy, Christiana. Create content that talks to people, individuals, ideally, about the things they care about. You can't talk to everyone all with the same posts. I'm saying don't aim to talk to get everyone to engage with your content. Talk to the ones that you want to help, the ones that you can resonate with, the ones that you can support, right? They're the ones you really want to engage with. Focus on those. See, I know the dilemma people have, Christiana, Cyrus, and Michael. Now, people look when I speak like this, people look at me, they go, but I want a lot of sales. I'm saying, no, you don't. You think you do, but you don't. And the universe knows, your God knows as well, that you can't handle a lot of sales. What you want is a few sales. It starts with a few. It starts with 1. 1 becomes 2. 2 becomes 10. Now 10 becomes 20. And then ultimately you create a system to serve those customers. And then your fan base rises. Suddenly, as Cyrus mentioned earlier, so someone mentioned earlier, referrals. I think that was Scott, right? If those people start referring their friends, your numbers have more than doubled and trebled. And there'll come a day when you have the systems in place to serve your target audience in huge numbers. That's when they'll come in huge numbers. You make the leap from single-digit prospects a week to hundreds. Let's not try and rush it by trying to cheat the system. Let's build a real community around us who care about what we do and actually want our help. Michael, you're scary. We're looking like that, Michael. You're trying to scare me, right?
Let's be Michael. there was a bee.
Yeah, there was
so Shakespearean. To be or not to be.
And then he changed to his happy look. Yes, my friends, look, like Christiana said, 3 hours in, we need to go, right? We do need to go. But it's been a fascinating conversation as always. I will thank you all. Now, please do go in the comments and do engage. Those on my YouTube, please like today's video, comment on today's video, and subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. And I appreciate you. You helped me. I've got past the first mark on YouTube monetization, by the way, my friends. I've got past 500 watch hours.
Well
that's all since Christmas. Now that's good. I'm happy with that, Christian. I'll take it. Really, I'll take it.
Yeah, well done. Seriously.
Yeah, I'll take. Say if I can get, I need another 1,000, another 500, right? No, every 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subscribers.
You're doing better than me, Annie. So well done.
I was tumbleweeding for years. So these events, like, they make it easy. That's why I always thank
Any
my YouTube.
can I leave a message for people who've been watching so far?
Of course.
Guys, if you're watching this on repeat, congratulations. You've been watching Ennio Song's show for nearly 3 hours, just like we did. We took part. It's a pleasure. But if you're able to focus on something for 2-3 hours in today's world, you are different. And
Yeah.
and whatever business you're doing is bound to succeed because you're able to focus on one thing. Well, not just minutes, but for hours. Well done, and just apply the advice that Annie has been sharing with people, Christiana and Michael, and also Scott and other experts who came to the stage. Apply those pieces of advice, and if you don't get the results that you're after, I would be highly surprised. Well done.
Well said, Cyrus. And that's the truth, right? Look, everyone who gives us a minute of their time, I appreciate you. Everyone who gives us longer that, and I am truly blown away. But I say, well, we're back again tomorrow with Christiana's show. I think we're talking about maternal and daughter traumas. Right, Christiana?
So we're speaking about, yes, we're talking about maternal and daughter traumas. More importantly, firstborns, like firstborn daughters and mothers, and more deeply, the cultural aspect. You guys have to wait and see, but it's about the cultural aspect.
Are you guys
Do we
alive?
hide
Can you
behind
hear me?
cultures? Do we hide behind cultures whilst we traumatize our generations?
Isn't that interesting?
I think the answer is yes.
We will discuss it tomorrow. Don't answer.
We always do, right? What goes on behind closed doors and all that. So,
Or the other option. There are two
Now I can
options of a
hear you.
discussion.
So
there are two options
you all
of a
have a wonderful
discussion.
evening. Take care.
You take care.
You leaving us?
Evening.
And
You
take care.
Yeah,
3 hours
everybody
here.
out in the audience, thank you very much for showing up. And those who are showing up after hours or after the show, congratulations. Thank you very much. And look me up sometime. Give me a thumbs up or let me know how you're doing. I don't mind chatting with you for a little bit.
Are we looking
Show
up the
some
bee or
love.
the wasp?
That's all we're looking for. I'm looking for love. That's it.
Well said. Well said. Do connect. Christiana, it's only one conversation we're going to have tomorrow. You can't have several options. I'm sure you decided by now.
There are two options. I'm just in the process of creating both.
She's out.
I'm here. Can you hear
The
me
computer
still?
dropped her out.
You can hear you.
Okay, good.
What's the other option, Christiana?
The second option is looking at or speaking about the post I put earlier today, which is aggression that leads into violence that results in the loss of an unborn or born child. So those are the two topics.
Well, we're on every 2 weeks, Christiana. So we're going to discuss both of them sometime, right?
Absolutely.
Dina's held out, and hopefully you're going to have dinner and come back, Dina. So I'm so glad you're here. Looking all the way through, I truly admire you. Sarah says you're a gem. Now, Christiana, you decide quick because we have to put it up tonight, right?
Yep. Of course.
Otherwise, you have to do your invites as well. So,
of course,
I'm excited.
Christiana, make it about generational trauma. Generational trauma is better.
No, we're going to do both of them anyway in time, Cyrus.
Oh, both, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
One after the other. Just which one comes
first.
So
tomorrow's one is going to be a generational trauma, right? And hopefully we won't traumatize our unborn children in the process of going through our own traumas.
We'll take it. No,
it's such a fascinating discussion as well. And I read somewhere, if you're a girl, at some point you were in your grandmother's stomach, because the parts that created you, the reproductive parts that created
Mm-hmm.
you,
Mm-hmm.
existed prenatal
Yes.
in your grandmother's womb. So
Mm-hmm.
3 generations in one.
Yes.
That's how fascinating biology is.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Need we
I
say
can't,
more?
wait. I can't wait, my friends. I can't wait tonight. No, well, we did need to go, my friends. I've been here since
Yes.
what, 5 o'clock? Yeah, no, 6,
Yep.
6 p.m. So thank you
So
so much, everyone. So do join us again in 2 weeks' time.
Thank you, folks. This was not the Late Late Show. It
Good
was a
night,
show with
Christiana. Good night, Annie. Good night,
Cyrus.
Michael.
adios,
Buzzing.
muchacha.
Oh, so Stanley's here as
Cyrus.
well. Hello,
We
Sister
Couldn't
have
help
we
it.
have a we have a meeting to attend to, you and I.
Call me after this.
Call me woman, call me man.
Call me
Yeah.
woman. Guys, I love you. I'm gonna have to love you and leave you. Take care.
Yeah,
Take
I'm gonna
care,
get
bye.
ready
Bye-bye.
to join Power Thinking. So if you are awake, then do join Sister Andy's Power Thinking. So that's,
Annie,
I'll leave it there. Yes.
we've got to do. I would like to do a Late Late Show for us on a podcast. Late Late Show that's streamed live too.
About
Live
what?
live streaming to the YouTube. I will not mention it on this show. We'll talk
Why?
about it
Why
offline.
late show? Okay. I don't know. We'll talk about it offline and then we'll work it out, right?
Yes.
Thank you for being a genius. Thank you for being a gem, Christiana. The fact that you still got work to do tonight, I'm amazed.
I am. I'm doing it as I'm speaking to you right now.
Normally, you're on early birds. You don't stay awake beyond 10 o'clock. I need to go to
I have
bed.
so much piling up, so it's got to be done.
It's got to be done. Look, enjoy your night, my friends. Hopefully, we'll see you in Christiana's room tomorrow. Otherwise, business on Friday. Otherwise, in 2 weeks' time, we're back here again. Another interesting topic. Thank you so much, everyone.
Absolutely. Good night, everybody. Thank you for being here and for supporting us as usual.
All right. So, bye, everyone.
Global.Media.com and celebrate it with the without champagne or rum. Achieve success with Global.Media.